have another chance to hit it right. Welcome to the program. It's a packed show today. We are going to be talking about politics. A lot is happening, and something is happening, and the president is already out of the bag and is out to show us his claws. What are we going to talk about? We have that later on in Iron Politics. But before then, we have the team, as usual. Ladies, there you have them. Good morning, ladies.
Good morning. Good morning. Wapenzi watazamaji
na wasikilizaji popote mlipo,
karibuni sana. Hii ni The Voice of Kenya. Hii ni KBC. Niache kurebrand hapa hewani. Good morning and welcome to the program. As always, we are glad that you have chosen to be with us. I am Jane Romboy, and as rightfully mentioned, today is the 21st day. Next week siku kama hii itakuwa end month. One more week. Mwezi ishe.
Kaput.
We move on to the next. Watoto wafunge shule wiki 7. Kids will be home for 7 good weeks as we prepare for the next academic year. But of course, we have so much lined up for you here on Good Morning Kenya. We do trust you will sail with us through and through till the end of this programming. Welcome once again, Doreen.
And a beautiful morning to you. Just 7 days to the end of February. Have you achieved what you had set, for your goals? You keep talking about resolutions, what you want to achieve. Have you achieved? But we still keep thanking God for life, because that is what is of importance. And as always, we always appreciate you choosing to join us, sending in your feedback, sending in your questions, 6:30 all the way to 10 a.m. Monday through Thursday. We do not take that for granted, and that's why we always have a loaded show for you, and that is still the same case this Monday morning. So stay put up until the end of the show. Many thanks for making time. I'm Doreen Arange Okello.
Indeed, you are in good company right here on KBC Channel 1. Good morning, Kenya. And we say Monday blues for who?
For who? For Victor. He's in blue.
Ah, yeah. Well,
Allah?
There's Victor, then there's everyone else.
You didn't realize the color you're wearing.
Okay, Monday blues for Victor. Thank you for representing. Now, so much is happening. So much is happening on the political scene, and matters of politics are taking center stage. The question about, Wiper leader Kalonzo Musyoka, which way to go? We saw the NDC take place, and Justin Muturi there seemingly hitting out as president. At the same time, we are getting information that Wiper leader Kalonzo Musyoka is ready for Azimio deal. So what is in the deal, and how does the Kalonzo Musyoka matrix change the political scene? Now, while they're thinking about that, there's a trend, a hashtag that has been trending, I think, from yesterday, and hashtag lower food prices. And a majority of people who've taken to social media, especially Twitter, are directing this to the office of the president. That is also State House there, saying that as the president plans the Sagana 3, where we expect, what the outcomes of Sagana 3 are going to shake our political scene, that also government looks in at the high cost of living for Kenyans. Right now, inflation is very high. I saw somewhere someone just tried to explain what inflation is that what can you buy with 100 shillings? For now, as we speak, 100 shillings cannot afford you a packet of milk that is 500 ml, as well as a loaf of bread, being that the latter, we're looking at 65 and 55. That is already past the 100 shillings note, value, that is. So just to understand inflation is that what can you now buy with your minimal amount that you have in your pocket? Kenyans are saying that foods prices are going out of reach. Let's begin with cooking oil, ladies. Jane and Doreen, Victor, we're not bringing you into this conversation.
Why?
For reasons best known to us.
Monday blues.
Cooking oil. I mean, five liters of cooking oil is actually gold at this point if you get into someone's kitchen. And I saw this conversation, I was part of the conversation, I took part in the conversation, and a majority of Kenyans were coming out and say that they're shelving some of the foods that they used to enjoy 2-3 years back.
Yes.
Because of the high cost of preparing it. And that one of it was fries, or rather what we refer as homemade fries. There's something unique about homemade fries. So a majority of Kenyans are opting to buy fries, and a majority of Kenyans are also opting to buy
education, like degrees, to a system that encourages the development of skill sets that are aligned with the vision of the country. Higher education loans for needy students will be turned into grants.
Further, the outgoing speaker vowed to abolish the youth ministry and make all ministries youth-centric, as well as transform northern Kenya, setting up a mega livestock market in Isiolo.
As president, first thing I'll do is to scrap the Ministry of Youth. How can the youth, who account for more than 75% of the population, have only one out of 22 ministries?
The Democratic Party maintains it will team up with like-minded parties ahead of August polls.
Tushangilie Kenya, taifa letu tukufu, Kenya tunayoipenda.
Indeed, a day in politics is quite a long time, promising there to slay the ghost of corruption if he is elected president. That is newly installed leader of the Democratic Party, DP. Now, talking about matters politics and keeping in tandem with what is happening in as far as the Azimio campaign is concerned, ODM leader Raila Odinga is pledging to revive the Mombasa Free Port project if elected president. He was speaking at the Tononoka grounds. He said he will elevate the port city of Mombasa to status similar to Dubai. He said this will open up employment opportunities and fast-track Kenya's economic growth.
Raila Odinga has spent the weekend wooing the coastal region to buy into the Azimio la Umoja message. On Sunday, the ODM leader and his allies drove into the Tononoka grounds carrying promises of economic prosperity for the region.
Tunataka kuona kama uchumi inapanuka kwa zaidi ya 10% kila mwaka. The economic rate of growth will be more than 10% per annum, sustained for over 15 years. Kenya itatoka kwenye ufukara tena kwa hali ya utajiri. Inawezekana.
Kazi baba amepigania hii nchi sana. Sasa ni wakati wake wa kuja kutufanyia kazi akiwa rais wa nchi hii ya Jamhuri ya Kenya.
You can never go wrong. You are in very safe hands.
The Mombasa Port and Logistics has been at the heart of a political debate in the region over the last 5 years.
Hii Mombasa Port itakuwa free port kama Dubai. Sawa. Tulisema hapa Mombasa tunataka special economic zone iweke hapa. Inashenda. Hiyo special economic zone itajengwa kama ile ya Dubai. Ili vijana waweze kupata ajira sawa.
Baba akasema viwanda vitakuja. Uhuru ameanzisha special economic zone. Baba ataimaliza. Vijana wapate ajira, wamama wapate ajira, walemavu wapate ajira.
Local politics also took center stage. Political differences between Mombasa gubernatorial candidates Suleiman Shahbal and Abdul Swamad Sharif played out. But Odinga urged his supporters to look at a bigger picture and the enormous task on the presidential ballot.
Hao wote ni watu wa chungwa na watu wa Azimio. Sawa. Hataki kuona kama wafuasi wanapigana.
Raila urged Mombasa residents not to be duped into the bottom-up economic model.
Alisema kila kambi itakuwa na stadium ya kisasa. Modern stadium. Hiyo mnaona nini? Hiyo hadi yote amesahau sasa. Sasa anatoa hadi nyingine. Anasema sasa sio milioni 1 kazi, sio milioni 4. Sasa
on Monday, Raila Odinga will take the Azimio la Umoja campaigns to Kwale County.
Now, it was not just about the campaigns and taking to the podium. Something is in the offing from that particular meetup in Mombasa County, where One Kenya Alliance said it was best placed to give the country the leadership it deserves. Here's Moses Modiga with the details.
The One Kenya Alliance believes it has the answers to the problems facing the country. Kalonzo Musyoka, Gideon Moi and Martha Karua on Sunday urged residents of Mombasa not to overlook their competence going into the August general elections.
Tukichukua serikali, ufisadi Kenya itakuwa jambo la historia. Na wizi wa mali ya umma. Mtu anakuja ana mamlaka miaka 9 miaka 10, badala ya kupatia kina maboga pesa wakati wa kipindi cha Lala Samandi wanasema anakuja kuwapatia pesa. Chini ya serikali ya Oka, Mombasa will shine, will be the #1 port city in Africa.
The leaders say the alliance will focus on industrialization and manufacturing so as to create more jobs. Na Kenya leader Martha Karua cautioned the electorates against voting in leaders with integrity issues.
Tunataka viongozi wako na utu, viongozi wanafikiria Mkenya. Na tukiwa na viongozi hao, na ni hawa ndugu zangu wa Oka, tutaweza kukomboa Mkenya aondoke kwa njaa, aondoke kwa kukosa makao, mtoto wake apate elimu.
Tutasukumuza na wananchi wengine, viongozi wengine. Tuhakikishe tukae kitu kimoja na tuhakikishe kwamba tutashinda hii uchaguzi ambayo inakuja mwezi ya 8. Sawa? Ujitayarishe kuhakikisha kwamba tutatuma wengine nyumbani.
The One Kenya Alliance was in Mombasa County, just a few kilometers from a rally convened by the Azimio la Umoja. Kalonzo and his allies urging the region to look beyond political parties and vote in personalities.
What was happening down in Mombasa County? Deputy President William Ruto was in Meru, where he defended his bottom-up economic model, saying it seeks to empower Kenyans by injecting money into low-income businesses.
The Kenya Kwanza Alliance have camped in Meru County to woo supporters. Deputy President William Ruto, in the company of ANC leader Musalia Mudavadi and Ford Kenya's Moses Wetangula, attended a Sunday Mass at Maua Catholic Church in Meru's Igembe South before making several stopovers.
Naweza kusema mbele iko sawa. Mbele iko sawa. Na sisi tunataka kuchukua serikali kwa sababu ya maslahi ya mwananchi wa kawaida.
Wakati umefika tuseme hadithi imeisha. Hadithi imeisha. Tunataka serikali ambayo driver anajulikana. Kama mtu ni waziri wa kilimo, si waziri wa kusema nangojea kupata amri kutoka juu.
Ruto said the campaign is centered on issues affecting Kenyans and is seeking to provide solutions under a bottom-up pesa mfukoni approach.
Tumekubaliana tunaungana na hatuungani ili tuweze kufaidika kama viongozi. Hatuungani kwa vyeo na mamlaka na mambo ya katiba. Tunaungana kwa sababu tuko na agenda na tuko na mpango na tuko na plan ambayo ni ya wananchi wa taifa letu la Kenya. Na tumesema priority yetu #1, vile tulikuwa tumepanga ndani ya Big Four, our priority #1 ni kuweka bilioni 100 kupanga ajira ya hawa vijana wa Kenya.
The DP also pledged to open up the Miraa market for the betterment of local farmers.
Kipaumbele, our priority is to make sure the economic well-being of our nation comes as a priority before we discuss other issues to do with.
Now President Uhuru Kenyatta has led Kenyans in condoling with the family and friends of Kenya's High Commissioner to Nigeria, Dr. Wilfred Gisuka Machage, who died on Saturday. Dr. Machage, who represented Korea East in Parliament for 2 terms, collapsed and died at his home in Abuja, Nigeria. The president eulogized the late Machage as a seasoned politician, a consummate diplomat, and a committed public servant who served the country with dedication.
While leading the country in mourning the late Dr. Wilfred Machage, the president eulogized Dr. Machage as a selfless person who will be remembered for his contribution in public service, where he served for many years as a medical doctor, politician, cabinet minister, and diplomat. President Uhuru saying, as a politician, Dr. Machage was a relentless advocate of the interest of wananchi, especially Kuria and Migori residents, whom he represented in the National Assembly and Senate respectively. Deputy President William Ruto has eulogized the late Machage as a distinguished public servant who served with dedication, saying he was wise, progressive, and full of fresh thoughts.
Some members in this house condone.
In his condolence message, ODM leader Raila Odinga described Ambassador Machage as a very diligent, passionate, and experienced politician and diplomat who served Kenya with undivided dedication and loyalty in a very important and strategic diplomatic station at the time of his death. Dr. Machage was first elected into Parliament in 2002, representing Kuria East constituency. He was re-elected in 2007 on a Democratic Party ticket. Machage also served as Migori County Senator from 2013 to 2017.
Alikuwa anatoa mjadala akiongelea masuala ya Wakuria vile wanafaa kusaidiwa, na pia ni mtu tulimuenzi. Na mpaka sasa hivi tulihuzunika sana kumpoteza, sababu ni kiongozi ambaye tulimjua.
Ametusaidia sana haswa kwa upande wa barabara, upande wa stima, na pia upande wa elimu. Ametutoa mbali na ametuweka mbali.
Kupitia kwa kiongozi huyu Machage alisababisha sisi kama Wakuria, jamii wa Wakuria, tukajulikana Kenya na nchi zingine ambazo huwa ni nchi jirani.
Amekuwa ni kiongozi kama nyota ambaye sisi kama Wakuria tujue tutapata wapi kiongozi kama yule.
Dr. Machage was appointed Kenya's High Commissioner to Nigeria by President Uhuru Kenyatta in 2018, from where he was accredited to 12 other countries in Central and West Africa. Machage died at the age of 65.
His soul continued resting in peace. Now off to matters security, where a section of learners in Baringo County may not sit for the upcoming national examinations as 17 schools remain closed due to banditry attacks. An estimated 300 learners in insecurity-prone areas within the region have fled their homes. The latest attack took place on Saturday evening, with 80 herds of cattle being stolen.
The fate of KCPE and KCSE candidates in Baringo County hangs in the balance. 17 schools remain closed as banditry attacks escalate in the region. Local leaders have raised concern over the state of affairs.
Visit Baringo South, visit Elgeyo Marakwet. You will be able to see the suffering of our people, because indeed they don't save their homes. Tunasika watu kila siku, hawana chakula, their hopes are actually dashed.
Ninataka tu kuuliza waziri wa elimu kwamba watoto wetu wakienda kufanya mtihani ajue kwamba hawa watoto hawafanyi mtihani kwa kiwango kimoja pamoja na watoto wengine Kenya hii. Their level of preparedness is different from the level of preparedness of other young people in this country.
The leaders now want relevant authorities to place urgent measures to tame the worrying situation.
Serikali ije, iingilie kati na itupatie nafasi ya kuweka usalama ambao ni ya kudumu Baringo hii. Kwa sababu bila usalama hata upigaji wa kura haitakuwa rahisi. Bila usalama hata upanzi ya chakula haitakuwa rahisi.
Meanwhile, residents of Ugenya in Siaya County have raised concerns over runaway insecurity in the region. According to the residents, security officials appear to be overwhelmed by the rising number of incidents where armed robbers strike, maim, and kill at will before disappearing.
Tunauliza huyu iko wapi, amepotea wapi? Mama ingine akakuja akatuambia mwenye mnauliza huyo amepatikana kwa kona pale kama amelala, amelala na anaonekana ndio mtu mnauliza ameaga dunia.
Naomba tu serikali watusaidie, watufanyie uchunguzi venye Odu aliuliwa. Kwa hao wenye waliuliwa washikwe.
Local leaders, however, called on the public to support efforts to beef up security in Ugenya through strengthening the Nyumba Kumi initiative.
I want to also ask wananchi that let us have community policing revived so that we help each other, so that in future we don't have such deaths.
Elsewhere, detectives from the Directorate of Criminal Investigations have rescued 108 Ethiopian nationals from a human trafficking syndicate in Kirigiti, Kiambu County. According to DCI boss George Kinoti, the victims were rescued by detectives drawn from the Transnational and Organized Crime Unit on Friday. The victims are aged between 13 years to 35 years old.
Now that particular roundup of what is happening as far as matters security are concerned takes us to matters sports, where Abel Kipsang set a new Olympic record in the 1500-meter semi-finals of the 2020 Tokyo Olympic Games, continued his form of brilliance after emerging victorious during the Birmingham World Indoor Championship. Now Kipsang timed 3 minutes at 34 and 57 seconds.
For the inform
Kipsang was in top form and showed his athletics prowess in the 1500 meters, time in 3 minutes 34.57 seconds. He was followed by Spaniard Adel Mikan, who clocked 3 minutes 35.30 seconds, while German Robert Falken settled for the third position in 3 minutes 35.44 seconds.
He's got enough today. Abel Kipsang will take it. 3:34.56 unofficially ahead of Michal and Robert Falken, who ran a stormer as well.
Kenya's Collins Kipruto rebounded with 800 meters victory. Kipruto clocked 1 minute 45.39 seconds, the second fastest time in the world this year. He was followed by Great Britain's Elliot Giles in 1 minute 45.42 seconds, while Spaniard Alvaro de Arriba timed 1 minute 45.82 seconds to finish third.
Is a piece here in one of the dailies from a former Harambee Stars striker, that is Henry Motego, who says, we have failed to plan, and that's why we are planning to fail. He's referring to the current state of our local sports, focusing on football, where he's calling for the election of a knowledgeable FKF team. We're going to be talking about it as we continue sampling the dailies, and also Manchester United fans there. We've heard from, Chelsea fans coming out to say, mkipata kikombe, well, we won that much. So we will talk about it. We take a quick breather. We'll be right back with so much more.
Log on to the KBC website at www.kbc.co.ke to get the latest breaking news, entertainment, sports, politics, lifestyle or business trends from Kenya and around the world. Never miss new episodes from your favorite TV shows, reruns and movies. Just stream online or watch live on your YouTube channel at KBC Channel 1 TV shows. For the day's biggest stories, trustworthy news and family entertainment, log on to KBC Channel 1. Watch what you want anytime, anywhere.
Just wait for me in the restaurant, okay?
Oh.
Aren't you afraid she's gonna catch us? What are we gonna do?
Oh my. I'm so sorry.
I'll go take care of it ASAP and come back as early as I can, okay?
All women believe their husbands are loyal to them. They just won't admit it, even if there's proof. I wonder what makes you trust him so much. A lady asked us to dry clean it immediately. She told us to send it to 2622. I saw him talking with another woman. They were picking out wedding rings.
Love, love, love.
Love is in the air!
It's celebrated in all phones worldwide. There is the Kenyan love.
Looks like it's Valentine's Day.
The children's love. The ladies' love.
I swear that I'm dying to feel myself in your arms.
The gentleman's love. Love that is comic.
No money, no
Dramatic.
Please don't do this to me. I have to talk to her.
Sporty. Breathtaking. Whatever your choice, let it rain this February with love.
This is getting better, better, and best.
Only on KBC Channel 1.
Welcome back. We continue with In the Headlines. Now we get to have a quick look at what the papers have for us today. We start you.
10 Azimio la Umoja affiliate parties will also sign the pact. The president will witness that in person. Raila calls DP Mr. Promise, moves to lock coastal turf. Raila is in Mombasa for a 4-day tour in Mombasa. And he said that laptop for schools, 1 million jobs, double-digit economy are among some of the promises that the deputy president promised. But now Raila calls him Mr. Promise. Moving on, get out of Uhuru's shadow and face me, Ruto tells Raila. DP says that August election, a contest between Kenya Kwanza and Azimio la Umoja. But he accuses Raila Odinga of painting the August election as that between Kenya Kwanza and the president. So he's calling out Raila Odinga to come out in open and face him. Kalonzo sets conditions for talks with Raila. Of course, that will be happening on Saturday. The Oka principles say that talks must be structured on the basis of equality of partnership done in good faith. Now, there's a story here that I think will be eliciting a lot of debate. Grant leave after miscarriage. There is a petitioner who is already having that. Says that victims need a leave for medical or psychological treatment, same benefits as new mothers. I think that will be... I don't know what to think about that, ladies. Because a petitioner has asked senators to amend the Employment Act of 2007 to give leave rights to women who miscarry or suffer stillbirth. I think it's more of psychological effect more than... It's a huge one, if you ask me. I don't know what to think about that, ladies.
It is definitely a big issue. We have seen so many women succumb to postpartum depression. And this is a conversation that I was actually seeing a while back where during the pregnancy, people are caring for you as the mother.
Yes.
You are given all the assistance that you need. But once you have delivered the child, all the attention shifts from you to the child. Rightfully so, because this child needs all the support. But what happens to that lady? You know,
because loss of pregnancy is a profound effect.
That's another issue, You know, it is a loss that so many people cannot understand until you actually get to experience. It's one of those situations, sadly. So,
all right, handing it over to Doreen. Doreen, what's on the front page of the newspaper?
All right, so claims of assassinations is dangerous. This is what the DP is warning, and this is after politician Stanley Livondo just gave sentiments over the weekend during the Moses Kuria Saturday homecoming event. And also part of what Moses Kuria mentioned yesterday is that he distanced himself from those remarks and also asked the DC.
There's talk of a deal in the offing between Kalonzo and Raila there. So Wiper leader ready for Azimio deal as Speaker launches bid for Senate House. We're talking about the NDC that took place that has now installed the Speaker, Justin Muturi, as the presidential candidate under the Democratic Party, DP. Talking about learning, we already, this is going to have this particular year, the education year, or rather the education calendar. We're going to have 4 national examinations taking place. Now, it's all set for 2.1 million learners to sit for KCPE and KCSE. If you're a parent and a guardian, you might understand this because we're going to be having our children arriving from school, various schools, or rather taking a very long break, unlike the 10-14 days that we have experienced before there. Some of the dates ranging between the 2nd all the way to the 5th of this month. All the best for the candidates, there, KCSE and KCPE. However, there's a bit of worry, especially in secure areas of Baringo there, where 300 students might be missing this particular exams owing to matters of insecurity. As we understand, is that police apparatus have currently been deployed to Tot High School in Baringo, where, after the school bus was attacked and the driver killed. So much is happening there. We're going to be keeping tabs on matters of insecurity in that region. Now, Sagana 3, and I use that loosely because that's what we've been having it on social media, so to speak. We're talking about that particular meeting that is expected to take place on Wednesday, and we are expecting a major announcement from President Uhuru Kenyatta, on the way forward, especially when it comes to the matters of his succession and what is his game plan. So much has been said. Remember, under his tenure, he has come up with 4 areas under the Big 4 agenda that he really says are part and parcel of his legacy. With the clock ticking, what is on his plate and what is his maneuver when it comes to matters of succession? It seems that he has placed himself right at the center of his succession, and he plays a key role after the polls. This is actually the big read on this particular daily this morning, that has been accompanied by a picture of what was happening at the Totonoka grounds there, where Azimio la Umoja was having their campaign. Also on matters health, Kenyans took to social media after, last week we had a medical breakthrough there, and this is, a successful surgery of a...
You know how you feel when you're losing your balance,
Yes.
when you feel dizzy? Now imagine that on a plane, on a grand scale. You can actually see that plane staggering, but she did such a beautiful job landing that plane. Right.
When I saw that particular clip, it got me thinking, can you imagine if it was a small carrier? I think it would have been blown off the sky.
I think they would actually have been redirected because
or even
maybe
grounded.
They couldn't stand. Yeah.
Grounded, because I don't know, a majority of you have been on social media, you've been seeing what has been happening in the UK there. You can't even walk straight.
From Eunice.
The
wind has been blowing
you
people
have to hold
away.
on to something, and I couldn't but help but wonder if you're flyweight. What happens to you? It's very important to be a little bit grounded.
Yeah, they do a touch and go. You come, when it's too strong, you just take off.
Actually, they grounded all flights due to the extreme weather. But given this one was already inbound,
yeah, she did it the Kenyan way.
Kenyans were scared the passengers were.
I can imagine. Turbulence kidogo unasikianga, Jesus, not today.
At this point is where we say strength of a woman.
Yeah.
I like that.
Strength of a woman.
She kept calm, and I watched her statement. Actually, she said the simulations that they had done
prepared her,
played a key role in executing that. There were 2 pilots, but she was steering.
She was the captain.
Yes, she's the captain, and kudos to her.
Yeah, somebody was saying that she did it the Kenyan way, that Kenyans were hardened to do certain things that nobody else can do. So she went to London and She landed perfectly. Nyinyi mnasema
wengine wanashindwa.
Mko grounded. Wacheni muone venye I do this thing.
Isn't that why we keep saying? Isn't that why we keep saying that if you've lived in this country, there's nothing you cannot do?
Yes. She did it the Kenyan way.
But you saw how that clip really unified us as Kenyans and brought us together. Things that bring Kenyans together, the way we're just there congratulating her and saying she actually did the best she could.
She did us proud as a country. And speaking of the UK, the Queen has tested positive
for COVID-19.
How about that? Ooh. How about that?
Even after
mild, according to the official statement, mild flu-like symptoms are what she is presenting with at the moment. How did the Queen get COVID?
And this is even after she already took the vaccine twice.
Wait. Okay. Norma.
What happened?
Let us come back to the Daily Nation. And I'd like to quickly just go over this particular story that I had mentioned earlier on, that I was featured here on the front page concerning one Quinta Amondi, who back in 2016, on the 27th of May, was shot in the eye by, she was caught in the crossfire when they were trying to stop Arimandi, who was escaping from the Migori GK prison. And according to the investigations, they classified this shooting as misadventure, all right? They proceeded on to pursue this particular case and did win, consequently being awarded 14 million to cater for the damages. But 6 years on, they are not, they're yet to receive the monies, and they're now questioning what is the delay all about, given the AG is yet to respond to this, because according to this daily, they say it has always been a cat and mouse, or rather hide and seek sort of situation between the AG and the victim's lawyer in trying to get justice for Miss Quinta Amondi, given she, according to her father, they had to remove her entire left eye, which also doctors told her exposed her to meningitis, and they were hoping to get this money in order to get reconstructive surgery to help her heal better and, you know, be compensated for this.
There's a story there about that police officer who sprayed his wife with 16 bullets. Yes, Doreen touched about it, but let me just bring to your attention, murder-suicide incident happened after officer checked out but did not surrender his firearm. The question is, you shoot someone 16 times. What would elicit such kind of a reaction? 16 times with an AK-47 close range. One bullet is enough to take someone's life. But when you do it 16 times, then it means this is something that probably boiled for a very long time, and this is premeditated murder.
Crime of passion.
Exactly. Of course, the police are still saying that they are doing their investigation to actually ascertain what happened. But my question is, 16 times? Well, 16 times, quite.
I think for me on that story, I'm still stuck on the fact that the child was watching. Their son, 2-year-old son, was watching as the incident was happening.
The sound of an AK-47 at the dead of the night, 1 a.m., 16 times, it's crazy.
Imagine the impact it will have on this child long term.
He'll be traumatized. At any drop of even a pin will scare the boy. Believe you me, it will. Okay, so that was happening. What do we have, Doreen?
All right, so let's come to this story on what is actually happening in different parts of the country. I'd mentioned it when you're looking at the front pages, but just perhaps to get into details of the kind of scenario that is happening when it comes to starvation, especially in these 12 mentioned counties. Of course, the most affected ones include Wajir, Mandera, and Isiolo County, who are in, just going by this particular article, as they're saying residents are in need of humanitarian assistance to avert the deaths that are being recorded as a result of this drought in these areas. Of course, you can get this particular deal and get to understand and read more of what is happening in these various counties as it pertains to matters starvation as well as drought. And at that point is where we bring our segment in the headline to a close this morning, but we still have plenty more of Good Morning Kenya on the other side of this break. Stay with us.
It's a case of emergency. There's a patient by the name of Gregory. Night nurse. Imagine living in a world where there is no war. No, oh no. I never knew anyone so one of a kind, no. The way she moves to her own beat, she has the qualities. Absolutely, I love you just the way you are, girl. You don't have to change, he wants to look like them girls in the magazine. She got big dreams, she see herself on the big screen. She asks, do you love me? I say you're just right. Absolutely, I love you just the way you are, girl. You don't have to change.
Si mtoto analia?
Nimejaribu kumnyamazisha, pia mimi nimechoka.
Amerudi? Yuko wapi?
Gani hizi?
Una roho chafu ya kichawi wewe.
Kwani Hana ni malaika?
Hana amepelekwa kwa Laban.
Mimi naisiketi yuko hai.
I've had enough of you taking it out on me every time you lose your patience. All I ever did was try and help you.
Stay out of the way.
Your father's the one that has always insisted on comparing the two of you. The only thing you can do for Santi is what you've always done. Give him your love.
I'm going to remove my son from this low-class facility. I'll take him to the best hospital in Mexico where they have real doctors.
Grandma, what's going on? Where am I?
If you don't obey me, I have no need to keep on paying your way. Do you want money? That means you'll have to start to work.
Lying heart. Fue sembrando el veneno y la ambición.
Welcome back. This is still Good Morning Kenya. Time for us to quickly look at how the roads are looking like this morning. Our focus being on Valley Road as well as Agwix Kodek Road. Those are the two roads that you're going to be focusing on this Monday morning. So let's just jump right in there and see how it is looking like. Perhaps you can begin from where V Road begins, that is around the City Moche roundabout. This particular road actually goes all the way up until Kenyatta Avenue, gets to branch off to Agwix Kodek, which is again one of those roads which we shall be looking at today. So we can just begin from that particular roundabout. This is how it is looking like at the Valley Road roundabout. Traffic being spotted throughout this entire roundabout, all the way before you get to branch off to Agwix Kodek as you head over to areas of Hurlingham there. This is how it is looking like, and it's just changing second by second around this particular roundabout. In fact, in some sections, heavy kind of traffic moving at a very, very slow pace, and that has been well shown by that red color, which is a clear indicator of that. As you leave the roundabout heading through Hurlingham via the same road, which is again what we're going to be focusing on today, that is Agwix Kodek, still the same is being spotted there. Heavy kind of traffic, particular to that lane as you leave areas of Hurlingham, leaving some sections of Ngong Road as well. Chaka Place coming to CBD on that particular section. In fact, that on that roundabout, that mini roundabout, as you head over to Woodlands Road, one of those minor roads there on that particular stretch up until the Valley Road roundabout, heavy kind of traffic and some sections not moving at all, just at a standstill. On other areas moving at a very, very slow pace. It is the morning hour, so again, obviously what we are seeing is basically what we would be expecting to see, particularly again on lanes as you come to the city center. Also, on this particular road, there hasn't really been a lot of ongoing roadworks, perhaps like what we've been seeing on sections or areas of Ngong Road, which is again still an ongoing roadworks there. But again, clearly one of those busy minor roads as well as major roads, particularly on this area, simply because of it being a commercial center. So obviously, again, a lot of activities are along or around this stretch. However, as you leave the Valley Road roundabout, still going through the same slip road, which is Agwix Kodek, as you head over to those to the areas there. No traffic at all on that section, moving at a swift pace. So again, if you're leaving areas of perhaps Ngong Road, Kenyatta, City Center, that is CBD, Valley Road as well, perhaps if your workstation is around this area, again, this is a good time for you to be heading there. Or if you're heading to these places, again, still a good time for you, because in that particular lane, no traffic at all, moving at a swift pace. That is why that green color is there, which is just showing that. But coming back the roundabout, things are changing a bit. Yes, still traffic is there, but at least it's opening up here and there on subsections. That is why we are seeing that orange color, which just clearly shows that traffic has begun to build up, but at least it's a manageable kind of traffic. But then again, also like what you will be seeing on most of major roundabouts, especially here in the city center, the same is also around the roundabout, whereby traffic police are always stationed up and early to try and see how best they can control traffic. And perhaps this is why we are seeing traffic changing here and there on that section. Away from that, still sticking with Valley Road as you head over to city center, at least not that bad. Leaving areas of Daystar as well, not that bad, coming still through Valley Road just before you get to Kenyatta Avenue, moving at a very swift pace. However, where traffic really begins to build up heavy kind of traffic is near the All Saints Cathedral. This is just before you get to city center, before you get to Kenyatta Avenue roundabout, and this is again specific to that lane that is coming to the CBD. On the other side, as you leave areas of Kenyatta Avenue, leaving areas of City Center, Haile Selassie, coming through the section of V Road there on that particular lane, moving at a very swift pace. The other side of Nyerere also not looking bad at all as you branch off to that section of Ngong Road next to Kenya National Library. Still on that section, heavy kind of traffic around sections of NSSF as well, still heavy kind of traffic. So again, if you're coming to these areas and using these particular stretches, then perhaps we'll just have to make do that heavy kind of traffic on some of those areas. But away from that, as like I mentioned again, is if you're coming to CBD via Valley Road, not really that bad. Just where we really have to make do with that heavy kind of traffic is around sections of All Saints Cathedral there, but still not so bad on most areas around the Valley Road, which is again our focus this Monday morning. That is how it is looking like in terms of traffic on those two major roads.
And welcome back. Now let's shift gears to politics and see what's happening. A lot happened over the weekend, and let's have a discussion today on Eye on the Politics. And with me in studio, I have got Hezena Lemaletian, who is youth leader, so to speak, yes, and woman representative, aspirant Samburu County, as well as Dr. Richard Bosire, who is a lecturer at the University of Nairobi, political science, and as well as political analyst. We are still waiting for Simon Gikuru, who is the party, that is ANC party Secretary General, who will be here with us shortly. But meanwhile, welcome to the program, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you.
It's a cold morning here in Nairobi. I don't know which part of Nairobi we come from, but it's been a cold one, so to speak. Karibu to the show. Starting with you, Hezena.
Yes.
A lot happened over the weekend, and one thing is for certain. There's this hashtag, lower the food prices. I don't know where it came from. What do you make of that? Are Kenyans just tired, or we need food prices to be lowered?
I think, yeah, I'm one of the victims because Kenyans flooded my timeline, writing the hashtag in anything I post. But I feel like it's, of course, the food prices are high right now, and a lot of Kenyans are suffering. In fact, in Samburu, people are dying of hunger right now.
Yeah.
And I bet across the entire dry, marginalized counties across the country. But I think also the people who are fueling the hashtag are allied to the deputy president. And I don't know why they should be complaining to us who are not yet in government instead of complaining to their party leader. If there is indeed enough handouts rolling out in the streets, why can the same be translated into supplying of food for the starving majority?
Yeah. So it's political. There's nothing more direct to Kenya.
There's some truth to it, but it's more of political.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But Dr. if you look at it, why this time? Lower food prices. Why this time?
I would say, Victor, Kenyans are stressed. That is a fact. In northern Kenya especially, we have serious food shortages.
Yeah.
And in a country that is proud, we are proud people as Kenyans, that we are an agricultural country. We are people who are self-reliant, independent, and all these words that convey autonomy and all that. We shouldn't be having such problems in this time in our history. Government should prepare in good time, in advance, to take care of its people, particularly when we're under such distress. So I would say it is real, there is a problem. It's coming now because, again, of politics. And again, it looks like someone is pointing a finger to the state.
Yes.
But the reality is, I think as a country we have failed. We have failed to be food secure, to be food secure. It's a major issue. I look at manifestos of political parties, everyone talks about food security as a priority for this country. But it's not happening. Why? Because I would say for the political interests of actually those people in power.
Yeah.
And we know when you ask for food security, this is in the public domain. The deputy president spoke the other day about milk to exports to Congo, who have only one cow.
A statement that elicited a lot of diplomatic reaction.
Yes. Yeah. So we can see that we're thinking of food exports. At the same time, our people are suffering from food shortages. Why can't we distribute the food that's within the country more evenly and have everyone have food on the table? The other message that this communicates is that actually people do not have money that can afford food and food for their families. Why? The economy is not doing well. We're still in the COVID season period. We have, the country has suffered, the economy, world economy, even Kenyan economy has suffered from this. So this distress call by the people is real. But then when you make it political, I think then you downplay it.
Yeah.
It's like nobody should respond. Respond to it politically. It's supposed to be responded to really adequately. And it's time that our leaders played politics that benefits the public. We cannot talk about helping the entire community, the lowest in the community, when at the same time we sabotage processes that will lead to their development, that will lead to them being food secure. For instance, why are we talking about these things now? Why didn't we reduce or give subsidies on fertilizers, give subsidies on seed, provide water for the animals, even dry animal feeds, rather than watching animals die across the country? I think our leaders are not serious. We can do it, and we need the leadership that will be able to deliver this.
I'm quite interested in knowing, when Kenyans come up with this kind of hashtag, Hezena, what about Samburu, where you come from? Because it's something that's quite recurrent each and every year, the cycle. Some arid and semi-arid areas suffer from hunger, but then now, when you look at that hashtag, what does it paint to your locals from those areas in particular?
First of all, most of my locals are not on the internet, so the hunger is biting and it's real.
They don't get the message.
Yes, the hunger is biting and it's real, and it's contributed to by the climatical conditions, and it's not just Samburu. I'm sure Turkana, Mandera, Garissa, Tana River are starving as well as Marsabit. I know places in Marsabit where I was called the other day and told that people are dying of hunger. So this is something that the government needs to do. But the other day I remember there was a promise by, I think, the president, was it the president of the state, through the UPI Alliance. There was some food that was supposed to be distributed to the starving Kenyans, and which they said that they have cancelled the actual food supply, and they were giving money instead. This money has not yet gotten to the people. So I don't know what UPI Alliance did with whatever they were given to supply to the pastoralist counties. And like Professor said, that it's not wise to make it political, because these are real issues that are biting people. But the moment you make it political, and it means you are lazy, because you're pointing fingers to your own self. You are in government. The president said the other day that 2 billion is getting lost. This money could have gone a long way in ensuring that these people are not starving. And why are the people who are receiving majority of handouts leading the hashtag? Because I personally don't have a kitty, but I supply food to the people from my own resources and friends. They can do the same as Kenyans. It's a collective responsibility, because when they bring in the political angle to it, then it becomes everyone's responsibility, because you are in government and you're pointing those same fingers to your people in government. And they are blaming Raila Odinga. Raila Odinga is not in government yet. What he's selling is hope. He is selling hope because Kenyans are hopeless. So when you call him, I'm seeing in the papers that you're calling him, someone is calling him Mr. Promise. Of course, he has to promise us what his government is going to deliver. Because as Kenyans, as youth, as women in this country, we are hopeless. And we need a leader who is selling us hope. Yes.
Absolutely. You know, when it gets to, actually they say, the only way to a man's heart is through the stomach. And a man's heart means all gender concerned, because when everyone is hungry, you can imagine what happens. Okay, let's get into the gist of the matter here. A lot happened over the weekend, but one thing that is on the front pages is the Kalonzo, Moi and Raila Pact that is coming soon on Saturday. I think you have that on the Star, Hezena. And the president will in person attend that signing of the pact. So it's a done deal as we speak. What do you make of that?
I think I like what our president is doing now as far as politics is concerned, because we want a country that is healed. For the first time, we have hopes that the future of this country will be free of tribalism. And pacts like this, Azimio la Umoja, it's basically calling on Kenyans from the different tribal background, ethnic background, and different regions to come together and embrace unity as a country. And I feel like this is very vital for the progress of our nation. If a country is divided within itself, everything else will collapse. The economy, stability, and everything, nothing will progress. So I like that our president is not just focused on installing another candidate, but is focused on bringing these leaders.
Installing would mean that he's going to pass the mantle direction.
That's what they're saying. So at least
he's supporting the candidate.
Exactly. So he's really trying to bring all of them together and show them that, you know, you can have a common unity of purpose. Yes.
Daktari, it's now confirmed that the president's heart is in the Azimio la Umoja. The secret is already open now.
I think it has always been, not now.
But the fact that he's going to attend that pact signing, it's now confirmed.
It says actually to be sealed at Jubilee NDC.
Yes.
So the president naturally was to attend the Jubilee as the party leader,
right?
To attend the Jubilee NDC. And of course, I will not say it's a done deal, because politics is the art of the possible. Anything can happen between now and then, until that signature is you know, scripted on the deal. We cannot say it's done, but I think that they're moving closer and closer to that point when they'll have an agreement.
Perhaps this is what Azimio really wanted.
Azimio, I think, always has wanted to have all the players together and have a united country. You know, where we have come from, Victor, we have come from a point where we were actually split as a country, like half-half.
Yeah.
And even, that's in 2017. You know, sometimes I smell it, I can see it, everyone can feel it. We are not going in the right direction. We had a problem in our country that people in their heart felt there's something wrong. And once people feel like that, they can easily be slide down and actually get into violence. And the handshake actually is what saved the country at that time. And from then, we should have understood, having experienced it 2007, 2008, we should have actually understood that we need to pull together. To pull together as a nation, not necessarily to kill political parties. We can be many parties, but having aspirations for the country, not for the person, for individuals. And I think that's what the president is trying to do, for his legacy, to bring people together, to bring all people together. But of course, you cannot succeed in bringing everyone, even in your own household. There is that one or two children who will be rebellious, and you let them go, because experience will teach them a lesson. And the president has a responsibility to leave a united country. He cannot, or we cannot afford as Kenyans, that during transition like we did in 2007, of course, it was not transition really in 2007, but from 2007, we should not have a divided country. We should not have bloodshed in our country.
But as then, when you look at it, people have been talking about the president trying to push Raila Odinga to presidency, the project. And Raila came out and said, you know what, I can never be a project. I have been on the ballot, this is now the 5th time. So, being that the president is going to be present at that particular event, can we still say that Raila Odinga is a project?
I think it's very lame for anyone to allege that Raila Odinga is a project. He's an institution. He has played a very vital role in bringing Kenya where it is, in the building of this nation. He has resiliently suffered in the hands of all the political persecution he went through. Like he said in Kasarani, that he has a handkerchief that doesn't leave his hand. When he was raising my hand in Kasarani, I will not forget that he was holding my hand with the hand that had the handkerchief. That was a real-time testimony to me as a young person who was not born when he was going through this. He cannot be a project. If anything, he may be our project as the people in this country, as the women and young people in this country. We will say he is our project. And if you are President Victor, and you're someone who really loves your country and is doing everything, including swallowing your own pride, to go into a handshake for the sake of unity and prosperity of our nation, if you are Uhuru Kenyatta, His Excellency, I think you would have to make a choice between supporting a pact that is causing a class war between Kenyans and a pact that's bringing Kenyans together, regardless of tribe. People like me, minorities are even recognized in Raila's camp, right? And if you are a president who loves your nation and wants to see its prosperity, which of the two camps will you choose? Which one will you be proudly associated with?
Yeah.
Azimio la Umoja came about as a baby of the handshake. Because what next after handshake? It was BBI, the Building Bridges Initiative. And bridges were being built. Each region was visited. I was among the task force that was compiling the MA recommendation. And all Kenyans aired out their grievances, their satisfactions through the BBI.
Yeah.
The BBI didn't go through, unfortunately, but I want to believe Reggae Post.
The president said that BBI is just a dream deferred.
It's a dream deferred because whoever was in the BBI
because experience will teach them a lesson.
Yeah.
And the president has a responsibility to leave a united country. He cannot, or we cannot afford as Kenyans that during transition like we did in 2007, of course it was not transition really in 2007, but from 2007 we should not have a divided country.
Yeah.
We should not have bloodshed in our country.
But as then when you look at it, people
talk about our future. And the president is working hard together with the former prime minister to ensure that this country is united under Azimio la Umoja. So if Azimio la Umoja is a continuity of BBI, we are happy as young people.
Okay, let me ask you, so now what's in on the table for Honorable Gideon Moi, Kalonzo Musyoka, and all the big bosses in the Azimio?
I think each of those...
probable lineup?
I don't know. I don't want to speak on their behalf. But of course, if they're intelligent enough, having been in politics for quite a while, one is the son of a former president. He must have grown up around State House, knowing how have an idea of how a country should be run. The other one has been vice president.
Yeah.
So these are people who have been interested in how the country will be steered forward. And if they're intelligent enough, they will just sign this pact and join Raila and the president.
Yeah.
Yes.
Dr. I'm still asking that same question because at some point Kalonzo Musyoka was left with no option once Honorable Mudavadi and Wetangula moved to Kenya Kwanza Alliance. Now, him and Gideon Moi are now trooping to Raila Odinga. Of course, it was just a matter of time. We've seen Charity Ngilu, Governor Kivuta Kibwana, as well as Mutua, all supporting Azimio la Umoja. So we can say that Kalonzo Musyoka had no option left.
You know, there is something that is often said that politics is always local. You must play politics at the local level.
Yes.
So when I saw Ngilu, the three governors from Ukambani, Ngilu, Mutua, and Professor Kibwana, when they came forth and said they're going to support Azimio, then I said, or what I thought I would read from there is that Kalonzo has no option. Politics being local and regional, if we could say, then Kalonzo has to see what chances he has.
Yes.
And therefore he has to move to a coalition, and this is a time actually for the coalitions. And soon, I think by on 26th of March, we'll have the deadline for joining your political party of your choice. Or even again, if with the new law, joining a coalition party of your choice. So time is of essence. It's perhaps almost barely a month for them to be able to do that. So the
quest for unity in this country, I believe,
direction. It's a political direction it's taking is that people have to make decisions, and definitely with the bashing, with the abandonment, if I could call it, by ANC leader Musalia and Ford Kenya, Wetangula.
Yes.
I think naturally this country is united under Azimio la Umoja. So if Azimio la Umoja is a continuity of BBI, we are happy as young people.
Okay, let me ask you, so now what's on the table for Honorable Gideon Moi, Kalonzo Musyoka, and all the big bosses in the Azimio?
I think each of those...
probable lineup?
I don't know. I don't want to speak on their behalf, but of course, if they're intelligent enough, having been in politics for quite a while. One is the son of a former president. He must have grown up around State House, knowing how have an idea of how a country should be run. The other one has been vice president. Yeah. So these are people who have been interested in how the country will be steered forward, and if they're intelligent enough, they will just sign this pact and join Raila and the president. Yeah. Yes.
Dr. I'm still asking that same question because at some point, Kalonzo Musyoka was left with no option. Once Honorable Mudavadi and Wetangula moved to Kenya Kwanza Alliance. Now, him and Gideon Moi are now trooping to Raila Odinga. Of course, it was just a matter of time. We've seen Charity Ngilu, Governor Kivutha Kibwana, as well as Mutua, all supporting Azimio la Umoja. So we can say that Kalonzo Musyoka had no option left.
You know, there's something that is often said that politics is always local. You must play politics at the local level. Yes. So when I saw Ngilu, the three governors from Ukambani, Ngilu, Mutua, and Professor Kibwana, when they came forth and said they are going to support Azimio, then I said, or what I thought I would read from there, is that Kalonzo has no option. Politics being local and regional, if we could say, then Kalonzo has to see what chances he has. Yes. And therefore he has to move to a coalition, and this is a time actually for the coalitions. And soon, I think by on 26th of March, we'll have the deadline for joining your political parties of your choice, or even again, if with the new law, joining a coalition party of your choice. So time is of essence. It's perhaps almost barely a month for them to be able to do that. So the winds have been blowing, and I think the direction is political direction is taking is that people have to make decisions, and definitely with the bashing, with the abandonment, if I could call it, by ANC leader Musalia and Ford Kenya, Wetangula. Yes. I think naturally Kalonzo was left with the option, and Gideon Moi, Oka was left with the option, if they were not going to field a presidential candidate, or not going to run alone, the direction was that they would go to Azimio.
But Dr. with all this happening, can we now confidently say that there was some sense of mistrust within the Oka from the onset?
You see, I think Oka had, of course, when you bring together people who, in politics, you have a coalition, you want to have a coalition, and people's personal interests are perhaps at the top of the menu, then you are likely to say this. Because each one wants to be leader, of course. Ultimately, you say, if I stay here, I might not get anything. So then you run away. And I wish, as my sister here was talking, I wish that this coalition, their shift into Azimio, is not about personal interest, but it's for the interest of the nation, so that we are able then to see that the coalition makes a difference for Kenyans and not for individuals. So I think we should swallow our pride. I would say we should actually have the public interest, the national interest of this country first, and then individual second. Yes. If we played that kind of politics, then I think Kenya would go far. But all the time when we reach the electioneering period, we have a problem, because most people are actually selling themselves. That is about politics. But then what is in the offing for Kenyans? Yeah. And I wish that this coalition they're going to make will have an agenda for Kenya, not an agenda for sharing leadership. Because we you know, there's been this talk that the BBI's aim was to distribute positions to as many top Kenyans as possible. But it should be that the effort that has been made from 2018, together with the handshake, was about Kenya and not about individuals.
Zena is here. She was part of the task force, and she'll tell us whether it was meant for that. I don't know. Was that the purpose for the BBI?
As far as I know, with the MA recommendation, which I helped compile, these were real issues affecting people, like land injustices, historical land injustices. We had resource distribution. We had something similar to one county, one product. That was our recommendation, you know, to make sure that the MA counties go into industry, some industries allocated to them, and maybe in leather and milk and things related to our lifestyle, you know, and meat. And we were recommending creation of abattoirs in our county, in our respective 5 MA counties. So there was nowhere we mentioned about resource sharing, power sharing. We only wanted an inclusive government where no Kenyan feels left out. And like Professor said, what people want, people want selfless leaders who move from their own selfish interest and focus on the interest of the people and the interest of the future of this nation, the immediate and the immediate future. And there is no one that has demonstrated that humility, that swallowing of pride, more than the president and Raila Odinga, because they went and swallowed their pride and did a handshake. How many Kenyans there who are upset and angry at each other can actually swallow their pride and at least for once follow a good example set by these two principles?
Absolutely. Allow me to take you back to what Kalonzo said yesterday. All of them are still in Mombasa. They had a rally there, but he said that the talks must be done in a structured way. How structured should this talk be? Because it's alleged that they had a 4-hour breakfast meeting in a closed-door meeting. We don't know the contents of their meeting, but once they come out, Gideon Moi talked of structured discussion and a pact, the same as Kalonzo Musyoka also talked the same, that the agreement must be done in a structured way. Briefly, before I bring in Dr.
Okay, I want to believe that by the structures, you can see like Ukambani leaders the other day had a meeting. I like what they are doing because at least they are showing unity of purpose. They had their Azimio before joining this other Azimio. So it's been very evident that someone like Governor Charity has been supporting Raila Odinga,
and they had time. I mean, from 2002.
Yes, they had very intensive talks as him and the governor of Makueni, Machakos, and former Vice President Kalonzo Musyoka. So I believe whatever they want in Azimio has a lot to do with their people, because you see, you've seen them focusing on industries. I think they are part of some of the very aggressive counties in matters their community, and they have shown unity on their own. And when you, like he said, politics is local. If they are united and they are local grassroots, it means they are with their people. They are representing the interests of their people. But we know so many other leaders who come up here and negotiate for a cake for their own interest at the national level.
All politicians
at the national
negotiate for the top cream
at the national level, but in the ground they are not in touch with their people. You know, they are not speaking for their people. There is a leader who will come and, you know, this one is not coming with the community, right? This one is following their own and pursuing their own interests. But I believe there is no one who is holding a political position that does not have few people following him or her. And I am hoping, as a young person, I cannot speak for them, but I'm hoping that whatever they're asking for in Azimio, whatever partnership they want, and like they say, and should be done in good faith, I am hoping it's about the interest of the people, most especially the young people and the women. I hope they do not intend to share these positions among themselves.
You are so passionate about young people and the women.
That's why I'm here.
We'll get to that briefly, because the two-thirds gender rule is still hanging somewhere. It's never seen light of the day. We'll talk about that later on. But Dr. structured talks. Kalonzo came out openly and strongly and said that the talks must be done in a structured manner. What do you read of that?
Victor, when someone says structured, it means for me that it must be done in accordance with the laid down procedures, particularly the law. it's not like just friends. You know, we are friends. We are talking as friends, and therefore we can agree and move forward.
Yeah.
There is an experience, Victor, of MOUs in this country, and if you critically look at the law that the amendment of the Political Parties Act 2021.
Doctor, I'm told that we need to take a break briefly. Then when we come back, we're just going to pick it from the act. Okay, let's take a break, and when we come back, we are still discussing the issue of that structured talk. So let's also get structured here and take a break. We'll be right back.
Si mtoto analia?
Nimejaribu kumnyamazisha, pia mimi nimechoka.
Amerudi? Yuko wapi?
Gani hizi Mungu?
Una roho chafu ya kichawi wewe.
Kwani Hana ni malaika?
Hana amepelekwa kwa Laban.
Mimi naisikia yuko hai.
Love, love, love.
Love is in the air.
It's celebrated in all phones worldwide. There is the Kenyan love.
It looks like it's Valentine's Day.
The children's love. The ladies' love.
I swear that I'm dying to feel myself in your arms.
The gentleman's love. Love that is comic. Dramatic.
Please don't do this to me. I have to talk to her.
Sporty. Breathtaking. Whatever your choice, let it rain this February with love.
This is getting better, better and best.
Only on KBC Channel 1.
Mundos divididos por una sombra de traición.
I've had enough of you taking it out on me every time you lose your patience. All I ever did was try and help you.
Stay out of the way.
Your father's the one that has always insisted on comparing the two of you. The only thing you can do for Santi is what you've always done. Give him your love.
I'm going to remove my son from this low-class facility. I'll take him to the best hospital in Mexico where they have real doctors.
Grandma, what's going on? Where am I?
If you don't obey me, I have no need to keep on paying your way. Do you want money? That means...
Lying heart. Fue sembrando el veneno y la ambición.
And welcome back. All right, so still having our discussion here in studio, trying to make sense of what happened over the weekend. Dr. just coming back to you. The structured talks dominated the stage. Yes.
I was saying, Victor, that structured will perhaps the Honorable Kalonzo being a lawyer, he wants these things to be done in accordance with the law. And the new political, or not the new, but the amended Political Parties Act require that there is a structured way coalition should be built.
Yes.
And I think that's what he's referring to, that they must negotiate either between party and party or coalition and coalition and agree, and then they put down their signatures on a piece of paper that actually will be deposited with the registrar of political parties. That is what the law says.
Yes.
So he wants something structured of that nature, not like we are friends, you know. I've had some coalitions, people are moved to some other coalitions who say that we're just friends. It's very dangerous for someone to say that we're just friends.
Yes.
It must be in accordance with the law. That's when you are protected. And in fact, the amendments that were done in 2021 Political Parties Act were supposed to take care of the shortfalls of our MOUs in the past. Remember 2002, we had MOUs that actually did not work between in the NAC, the huge NAC coalition. And that experience has now been put behind us as a people, because you must have something that is recognized by the law. If you run away from it, the law can be followed. You can be taken to court and it can be reversed. So it's important, first and foremost, I would say, that Kalonzo and Gideon Moi have agreed to talk. But that is the first thing.
Yes, they have agreed to talk, but when they speak like that on a podium, does it really show the content of what they talked about? Perhaps some secret that they had behind closed doors?
I think they will not disclose that. It's like disclosing strategy on television, right? Political strategy on television, on public TV or radio, wherever, or write it in the newspapers. They must be talking. You know, the talking itself shows that they're going to in a particular direction. And whatever the details could be, not necessarily sharing, I would guess not sharing the positions, but saying what are the terms, generally what are the terms of our engagement that we are going to have between Oka and Azimio la Umoja. That is, for me, the most important thing. So there is party-to-party coalitions.
Yes.
There is also a coalition to coalition with coalition, but again, within the law, I'm certain that within the law, this be called the coalition party is supposed to be, members are supposed to be political parties, not coalitions.
Not coalitions. So I think it's going to be a party, according to the Political Parties Act.
Yes.
Yes.
Definitely, Wiper, KANU, whatever other parties had already gone there, like Martha Karua's, Na Kenya, and all that, they will have an agreement among themselves. Now, Azimio will be the big house, but within the Azimio membership are the political parties. So structured discussions are supposed now to take care of this. What are our agreements? How are we going perhaps to share resources, positions, and all that? Because, for example, if you say Kalonzo is coming, what is the expectations of his supporters? Are they expecting him to bargain for a position? Are they expecting him to bargain for resources? You know, you must be somewhere. And politics about resource distribution. You must be there so that you can support the process that will distribute resources. I would say evenly across the country because of the elections.
Someone would say that Honorable Kalonzo Musyoka and Gideon Moi, they are joining Azimio la Umoja. Actually, they're the people now joining Azimio la Umoja. But then why would they make such demands of structured talks? Is it conditional? I don't know.
It's not necessarily conditional, Peter. But for me, it's the law. It's the experience. You know, what has happened before. They've been in the game
for quite some time, and they know.
Yeah, they know that this thing you cannot just get into it without laying down structures in accordance with the law. Because if you don't, then you have given away.
Okay. Paint for me a picture now. Once the party is formed, paint for me a picture when they on a podium right now, campaigning. A picture of how the protocol in terms of Gideon Moi is there, Honorable Kalonzo Musyoka is there, and all the party members and the member of parliament supporting. Paint for me a picture of how it would look like a day after Saturday.
That's a very intelligent question. So I don't want to presume, but I think Baba has not yet chosen a running mate. So
not yet.
I cannot say. It's clear Baba is the next president. He's going for presidency.
That's so
and my opinion, of course, and the opinion of many Kenyans. And we don't know what will happen at the NDC, but I know with also these coalitions coming up, with these principals joining Azimio la Umoja, I also know for a fact that they are going to negotiate for positions of their party candidates. And they will bring the candidates they have in various, for instance, Jubilee will bring its candidates, KANU will bring ODM, and all these other,
Actually, 10 more parties are supporting the Azimio.
Exactly. So they are definitely going to negotiate maybe for these positions in every county, according to whatever they want. But I'm just hoping they do not also install some leaders and force them on us in the name of calling it structures, in the name of calling it what in good faith.
Yes.
I truly hope that they take care of the interest of the people. What do the people in a certain region want? And if they are going to forward or nominate their own candidates, irrespective from their various respective political parties, I hope that they take care of the interest of the people in the grassroots. Who do they want? Who are they tired with? Right? But in terms of protocol after the NDC, I don't know. I don't want to speculate, but all of them are leaders we respect. But we know, of course, we are under the guidance of His Excellency Uhuru Kenyatta and Raila Odinga, the fifth.
You're so mean with your word. I know you're trying to hide so many cards behind the carpet, but it's okay. Dr. can open it because...
He's not running for office.
No. What do you see after NDC?
What I see,
when you have a rally on Sunday?
What I see is coming out strongly.
Yes.
I'm sure at that podium they will come out strongly against the DP. And they will come strongly for the unity of the country. But regarding protocol, protocol is, I don't think it's a serious issue in the campaigns. It could be serious issues in official functions, you know, like we saw in the past. Who is the Prime Minister?
Protocol in terms of color and, you know,
colors,
flamboyance that
colors should be mixed. And, and because the nature of coalitions that we have now is every party comes in with their own, every party. It's a coalition of parties. So you see a multiplicity of colors, perhaps 10 different colors in the meeting. That is in the rally, during the rally. But I'm certain that all those principles, if I may call, will have a chance to speak, and they will speak about one issue. I think mostly likely uniting the country and one presidential candidate. Those are the things that are going to vibrate in our media more often, because they have agreed on one candidate. They cannot go into local politics to say who is going to be MP, who's going to have a governor, senator, and all that. That actually, again, is where the battleground will be sooner or later.
Yes.
Because
during the nominations.
Right. Because finally, definitely we'll have candidates from each of these parties running against each other. They were talking about zoning. I don't know if zoning will work. It might not work. You know, Azena said something that they should not pick people that they prefer.
But that would come. I don't know what she feels about that, because it comes from the nomination. It's the processes we've talked about this before. The direct nomination, universal suffrage.
It's possible.
It's possible, right?
But yeah, direct nominations are possible. But then where there is no contestation, I would believe that where there is no contestation, where there is contestation and members are the contestants are members of the same political parties, give them a chance to go through nominations as provided in the law, and let the most popular candidate win, because you are sure the same candidate, if the party has a following on the ground, would actually win at the end in August 9th.
Yes.
So, but that is where the politics will be. I think what they're trying to shape up at the moment is up there, presidential candidate, and the interest of the party or the parties being taken care of within the coalition.
Because when you look at even the colors at the Azimio rallies, they've put aside their party colors, the orange color they usually don. We have got different parties. One uniform they don't right now is it a blue? Men are colorblind.
Yeah, blue. It is blue.
But I think they announced that the official colors for the now Azimio movement will be announced. That's what they said. After this, all these new guests we are expecting come in, we are expecting new colors and a new face of
partners,
Azimio.
not guests.
Partners. For now, they are guests. Once they settle in, we are partners. And yeah, like, was I supposed to say about nominations?
Exactly, yes.
Yeah. So,
because it's a problem that most people are facing right now.
Yes.
And even the contestants, that is the biggest fear, including you.
Exactly, because I do not expect to be denied a party ticket against a 63-year-old who has been in power for 15 years and has never done anything remarkable for my people. And these are the things that I want the coalition leaders to be very, very keen about. I am just coming from a training through IRI, where we've been trained for almost 6 months on leadership. And we get to interact as young people from all political parties, including even UDA. And our problems are common. Every young person in this country feels like they are neglected, they are marginalized, and especially the young women, because in a lot of cases, they will be denied party tickets on the grounds of age. Even when you know this person has fresh ideas, has the energy to transform where they come from, and are already working to ensure that they transform the lives of the people. But what are we facing? Threats that, oh, they will come into the coalition with money, they will buy the tickets, so then what is changing, right? And these are things we don't expect to continue as young women and youth in this country. And what I was saying earlier on, it's okay, they can put their preferred candidates, but they should make sure that these candidates they are promoting for the ticket should be people who are helping the community. Let them rise above the local politics now, because they are the principals. Whatever positions they will occupy, whoever will be running mate or what, let them rise above this and put the interest of the nation first. And to put the interest of the nation first, you have to take care of the interest of every person at the grassroots. What do people want? Who have been the dormant leaders, who have money and want to continue reigning in power until they die on those seats?
So which one would you go for then, in terms of nomination? Which process would you prefer?
I prefer free and fair nomination and
universal suffrage.
And they make sure that all the people who have money should not buy the tickets, because how can you be rich? There is no business that is known. You are not a billionaire. We don't know any business in your name. You are not in the manufacturing sector. You are just existing. And you've been in power for 10 to 15 years, so many of them. You suddenly get rich and your people are starving. No water, no food, no roads, nothing in Samburu. And you want still to go and face the people? I'm glad, because I saw one leader was chased the other day in Samburu by the youth.
Which process of nomination would work best in Samburu?
In Samburu, I just think free and fair. As long as they do not bribe to get the ticket, the free and fair nomination should be fine.
Okay.
Yes. Let the people decide who they want.
Let the people decide who they want.
Yes.
That's the call for every politician and actually every contestant.
Yes.
Democracy. Yes. But Daktari, you know, when you see Honorable Kalonzo Musyoka and all of them coming together as we finish this one, you'd expect all the political parties to come with their candidates, preferred candidates. So you'd expect in Ukambani, Kalonzo Musyoka will have to look around and see that particular area suits such a person. But how is it going to be in terms of distributing the top cream?
Young people from all political parties, including even UDA. And our problems are common. Every young person in this country feels like they are neglected, they are marginalized, and especially the young women, because in a lot of cases, they will be denied party tickets on the grounds of age. Even when you know this person has fresh ideas, has the energy to transform where they come from, and are already working to ensure that they transform the lives of the people. But what are we facing? Threats that, oh, they will come into the coalition with money, they will buy the tickets, so then what is changing, right? And these are things we don't expect to continue as young women and youth in this country. And what I was saying earlier on, it's okay, they can put their preferred candidates, but they should make sure that these candidates they are promoting for the ticket should be people who are helping the community.
Yeah.
Let them rise above the local politics now, because they are the principals. Whatever positions they will occupy, whoever will be running mate or what, let them rise above this and put the interest of the nation first. And to put the interest of the nation first, you have to take care of the interest of every person at the grassroots. What do people want? Who have been the dormant leaders, who have money and want to continue reigning in power until they die on those seats?
So which one would you go for then, in terms of nomination? Which process would you prefer?
I prefer free and fair nomination, and
universal suffrage.
They make sure that the old people who have money should not buy the tickets, because how can you be rich? There is no business that is known. You are not a billionaire. We don't know any business in your name. You are not in the manufacturing sector. You are just existing, and you've been in power for 10 to 15 years. So many of them. You suddenly get rich, and your people are starving. No water, no food, no roads, nothing in Samburu. And you want still to go and face the people? I'm glad, because I saw one leader was chased the other day in Samburu by the youth.
Which process of nomination would work best in Samburu?
In Samburu, I just think free and fair. As long as they do not bribe to get the ticket, the free and fair nomination should be fine.
Okay.
Yes. Let the people decide who they want.
Let the people decide who they want.
Yes.
That's the call for every politician and actually every contestant.
Yes.
Democracy. Yes. But Daktari, you know, when you see Honorable Kalonzo Musyoka and all of them coming together as we finish this one, you'd expect all the political parties to come with their candidates, preferred candidates. So you'd expect in Ukambani, Kalonzo Musyoka will have to look around and see that particular area suits such a person. But how is it going to be in terms of distributing the top cream up there? Are we likely to see some kind of push and pull?
Actually, I mentioned something that in politics, you can't be given anything on a silver platter. So you have to push and pull.
Work for
it. Normal. You have to work for it. There are people who work so hard for their parties, but ultimately they don't get positions. They don't get appointments. But there are those also who know, who are entrepreneurs. We have talked about this before. They are those political entrepreneurs. For them, they know the buttons to push so that they get where they want.
Yeah.
But most importantly, I think Wiper has a substantial following in Lower Eastern. And for that reason, then he sees, he has people on the ground. It's also a fact that UDA is penetrated some parts of the Lower Eastern.
Yeah.
So he'll also have to work hard to reverse the gains by UDA in that area.
Yeah.
But at the top I know, even when we get to the political party itself, they will say, let our principal represent us at a particular level. And that is given, it's normal in politics. And then the principal also now protects the interests of his party and its members. I want to mention something regarding the ageism that you know, we have tribalism and others.
I know what she's talking about.
Ageism is a special
she's promoting. You know, it's as bad as tribalism. You know.
So this is not ageism.
Ageism. There's nothing wrong having a 63-year-old senator or
of course, I know what she means.
But merit. What should go in this country and we should embrace is merit. Who is the best leader? The best leader in a particular community. So we are looking at the characteristic traits of leaders and sell yourself to the public so that at the end of it, they will nominate you.
Yeah.
And we need also to shun violence. The youth can harass an old man, you know, an old woman. But is that fair in a democratic space?
No.
I don't think so.
No.
So people should be allowed to sell their ideas. If leaders have failed, the community knows, the electorate knows, and they will be rejected outright. So that young people who come on to leadership have come on to leadership on the basis of merit.
Yes.
Not on the basis of age, on the basis of this. And even mobilization. In fact, I should help to tell my younger sister here that the youth are not, you know, a block of votes as youth. They are not. There are other factors that count when one is making a decision for who to vote for. Not that he will vote for you because they are youth, that all youth. I've seen youth who are supporting older generation people than the young ones. Why? Because they for some reason, there is ethnicity, there is clanism, also clan politics. You know, there is also the money issue. Some people say they are voting for whoever give them 200 bob. Unfortunately, they should now, meaning that our ideas, the youth who have ideas, should go ahead and ensure that they are present. In fact, we did a study and people were saying they are going to vote for this person because he is present or she is been coming here. She resonates with our problems. She knows our problems. She comes here and stays with us and hears us. What our cry. Very important. That is what can propel someone particularly during nominations to get a ticket.
You said something quite fundamental, Dr. because when you talk about the youth, 75% of the popular generation is formed by the youth. But then, when it comes to voting, during that day, 9th of August, you will not see that block. Either they are undecided, they feel disenfranchised, they feel demotivated to go and vote. Does that worry you? What would be done to change that narrative?
Of course it does, because like I said earlier on, we are a country of hopeless young people and women. Why are we hopeless?
And men also.
Okay, and men. So basically...
Literally fighting for the men's right.
I know, he's fighting for the...
It's my daughter, no man.
Okay.
So what we need is our hope restored. And I have personally interacted, and also it's also my greatest fear, that a lot of youth have not registered as voters. And if you know, there are two age brackets. There is the 35 and, let's say the 30 and 25. Then there is the 18 and 25 youth. Those are two different generations. I have had majority of not registered are 25 to 18, and they do not completely see the need to register as voters. Reason being, the same things we are talking about. They are saying, I have personally interviewed them one-on-one with a few friends of mine, and some of the reasons that came out were, if I am going to register, I'm only going to register to vote for you because I see hope in you, but I will not vote for so-and-so, another candidate up there. And we ask them why. We don't see, like, their casual talk is, we don't feel like they know what our problems are. You know, they don't identify with us. So, but you, at least we have little hope. So what these people need is hope. And then they say, even if we register and vote, especially my generation, you know, 30 to 25, they are basically saying they have voted before, but whoever they voted for was shortchanged. No, was shortchanged. And they're telling me, why would you go and buy, and you know definitely they will buy the votes? Wataiba kura, watanunua kura. That
is a perception perhaps in politics. What if you just win straight on and
but
the winner?
This perception has been so serious in this country that it has affected the young people. And we are at a point we cannot continue to ignore this anymore. It's a reality. And I have tried to do a lot of voter sensitization.
And you know where it's coming from? You know where it's coming from? Where the DP says, kubali, ukishindwa in August, kubali na wende nyumbani. So you can imagine what penetrates in the heads of the voters 6 months to an election, and you're telling someone that ukikubali, even nominations has not been done. Perhaps something can be done.
Let me tell you something else that's very critical, especially to my region. I have been to several places campaigning, and you know we have clans in Samburu, and I have interacted with other young aspirants from across the northeastern region. They have the same problems. Some legit Kenyan citizens have not been granted IDs. Reason being, either some local leaders are saying they do not belong to that community, they do not belong to that region. Samburu, for instance, and I will proudly say, without fear of contradiction, that there is a clan, the 9th clan of the Samburu. They are called the Ndorobos. The Ndorobos are blacksmiths of the Samburu. The Gunonos are also another faction, hunters and gatherers of the Samburu, although
Yes.
nowadays they moved into pastoralism. So they are very part and parcel of the Samburu people. But some local leaders have been deliberately and illegally denying them identity cards. I met
Is the
this
government
youth
aware?
and we are presenting these cases, and the youth have come to speak to me. They told me we have been denied IDs because once we go to register, they tell us that you are not from this county. Where are you coming from? You see, because originally we used to migrate from one county to another.
Yeah.
Right? So you cannot just come and say, but these people are crying that they have been here for a long time. And now I went to talk to the office of the registrar. They told me this was just politics being played, because you have to have strategies as a politician. So if an older person strategy is to lock off the young people and the youth for whatever reasons they want, it's politics, fine. But as a young person, I have to come in and make sure that I facilitate these people to go and register as voters. I thank God because the office of the registrar in Samburu has not refused to register them once I approached them. But to imagine that at some point they were denied registration is very disheartening. So there is a lot of issues involved in why the young people, and first but most importantly, they do not see hope. They are saying our votes have been stolen. They will shortchange you because even the older leaders, some, I'm not doing a blanket condemnation on all there are so many good leaders who mentor young people. But there are some who they should be called viongozi sugu, because what they go to the ground is they will sell fear. They will say, "Uyu hatafika ballot, tutanunua ikura."
But that is politics.
Huyu bado ni mdogo. It's politics. It's politics.
The cheapest price if you can.
Exactly. But the young people have been buying this for a long time, and they have seen it through experience that they voted for this person and this person won.
Okay.
I would like to
some
respond
serious accusations there.
Yes.
But I'm speaking from where the shoe pinches.
And if the registrar of persons is watching this, then something has to be done in Samburu so that the Ndorobos, people who have exactly to get their identifications, and probably the government should also move in and make sure that if you're above 18, you have ID. All right?
Yes.
Fair enough. Okay, yes, Dr.
Yeah, it should be more or less automatic that when you are 18, you should actually receive your ID.
True.
Yeah, because there should be actually they should bring the two records together, births and registration. Actual births, deaths, and civil registration
should be similar.
So that when my child is 18, automatically they send a message to the parent that the child is supposed to be registered, and already if they have their documentation, we can have this thing done automatically. Or at request, press of a button and you receive your identity card. I wanted to mention something. Sometimes we say the youth are marginalized. In fact, the youth, for me, are the greatest consumers of national resources. And it's true, isn't it?
No.
It's true. Because look at it from even a family perspective. When I earn a salary, I all spend it on my children, whether upkeep, education, and all that. In fact, a study was done by UNDP some time back, and Professor Mwabu of the University of Nairobi, an economist, presented this data on how much the youth consume in relation to the rest of the sectors in society. And it's a fact. If you look at it from your own, even your own household, when you get the money, you're paying fees, you want to develop our children. And we should look at ourselves as one family of Kenya. We shouldn't actually look at ourselves like us, the youth versus the older generation. And even within the youth, I've heard my sister here talking about those between 18 and 25, and there are those 26 to 30, and actually there's another group between 31 and 35. Yeah. So we should, what really brings us together? Consumption of resources. In fact, I would say the youth are our strength. They are the consumers of resources. We invest more in the youth than anything, except now when it comes to leadership.
I belong to that category.
Yeah.
So do I consume a lot?
Exactly.
You as a person, once we have enabled you, for example, if it's my children, I accept them to fly. Let them get a good job. Once they get that good job, let them develop themselves. I don't even want them to help me. So once you are in that category, as you are now, you should be developing yourself. In fact, even that politics, you should actually go for it and get it, rather than making a claim that you are marginalized. Because
I want to respond
secondly,
to that.
secondly, those beyond 35 that they claim that those you belong beyond that, the beyond 35s do not know the issues of the youth. We have grown through this. I was a young boy the other day. I was a youth the other day. So I understand. And I live in this country. Again, there are those who are 36 who are not youth, who are 40 who are not youth, but they have just transited from being youth. So they know the issues of the youth. I think for me it's a myth. It's a myth that having someone who is 20 as an MP will take care of the issues of the youth better than me who is 45, 49 or 50. For me, I think it's a mirage. The thing is, not that we distribute leadership according to ages and all that. The thing is, who is the most competent leader? If in my society, it is you, you know, my sister here, who is the most, in my estimation, the most competent. Let her give her that position to be able to propel.
Can I please briefly
but finally, we need actually a national dialogue to change the perceptions and also the way perhaps the youth respond to politics and everyone across the country. Voter education, civic education, they should understand it is their responsibility to vote. Bad leaders should be voted out. They should understand that whether youth or older, we need to get the best leadership.
Allow me to take a break, and Hazena, when I come back, I'll give you time to respond to that. Exactly. And then now the president is, we've seen some pictures on social media, the Jubilee administration putting billboards across the country stipulating what the president has done. I want us to talk about that and what that means. But first of all, let's take a break, and we come back. I'll give you time to respond to that accusation among the youth. I also feel attacked.
I'm the youth.
Daktari is on our neck today.
For them.
I'm being fair. I'm also a youth.
No. You are harassing us, Daktari.
I'm also a youth.
Let's take a break. We'll be right back.
Youth.
Youths in studio today. All right, we'll be right back.
The government of Kenya adopted universal health coverage, UHC, as one of the big 4 priority agenda, with an aspiration that by 2022, all citizens will have access to quality healthcare services that they need without getting into financial hardships. Don't suffer in silence. Visit the nearest healthcare facility and access affordable healthcare services that are now offered under the universal health coverage benefit package delivered through NHIF. For those who can afford, please remember to pay the monthly contribution of 500 shillings. The government has put mechanisms for assisting those who cannot afford to pay. Register biometrically at the nearest NHIF office. Your family's health matters to us. NHIF. Leave no one behind. Log on to the KBC website at www.kbc.co.ke to get the latest breaking news, entertainment, sports, politics, lifestyle or business trends from Kenya and around the world. Never miss new episodes from your favorite TV shows, reruns and movies. Just stream online or watch live on your YouTube channel at KBC Channel 1 TV shows. For the day's biggest stories, trustworthy news and family entertainment, log on to KBC Channel 1. Watch what you want anytime, anywhere.
Welcome back. Hezena says that she feels attacked, and for all fairness, I want to give her time to respond. Hezena, 3, 2, and you go.
So I appreciate that our honorable professor here is taking care of his family and providing for his children. What I want to remind him that he has used the word consuming. We do not want to be consumers in this country. That's not how we build our nation. We want to participate in the governance, in the decision making, and in the manufacturing. You know, making up. We make up about, is it 75% of the Kenyan population as young people? Yeah. And you can imagine the consumption rate is 75%. If the consumption rate is higher than the production rate, so where is this country exactly going? People are consuming. People are consuming. You mean import? So, but what if these consumers also turn into producers? Yeah. They contribute into the production, like through strengthening of SMEs, strengthening of, putting them in positions of leadership and influence. We will be producing more because it's our time. We know where the shoe pinches. We have the energy. They struggled during their time. They are done. Now they are at the point of eating, receiving, uncomfortable. They are done with the struggle. Who is struggling now? It is us, the youth and women. Yes. And not men. He says he provides for the family. It's biblical for men to provide. But what I know is that a lot of SMEs are run by women. Very few men sell mboga. So who is exactly providing for that family? He's well off, of course, he's a lecturer at the school of choice. So he can afford to provide for his family. How many other families out there have women as the breadwinners, have youth in the border sector as the breadwinners? I'm a firstborn of several. And I am also helping in ensuring that I provide for my family with the assistance of my mom.
Yeah, once you have been empowered.
With the assistance of my mom. What now our parents, like Professor, don't understand is that the empowerment is talking about is academic. We are done with that. But once we are in the job market, do we have the jobs? Do we have the opportunities? Is this education appreciated? Right? Yeah. Is this empowerment put into use? Or their generation is just used to providing and we consume? Yeah. We do not want to consume. We want to participate in the building and production of our country. We want Kenya to be the East African gem. You have seen Congo wants to join the East African community. They are bringing on board a population of 90 million. If the unemployment rate of youth in Kenya is very high, if industries are strengthened through the economic revolution, like Baba is saying, if there is an agricultural revolution, like I intend to do in Samburu, we'll put more youth into work. Where will we be having the market for this? Obviously not as that, because now we are producing. We will start focusing on the African trade. We'll start focusing on importing. That is what China has done. It capitalized on industrialization and on young people. And now China is applying everything to the world. We can do that as Kenya. Nigeria has a population of about 250 million. Kenya has of almost 50 million, and Congo has 90 million. How many other African countries that can empower the youth, give them opportunities? You have empowered us already. Now we are ready to take up the positions to help you rest, because we have consumed and consumed. Now we want you to rest.
I didn't want to respond because I was misunderstood, Victor. I will say one word, just a few words.
Before we go to the next
I think she misunderstood me, like consumption is a bad thing. I said of resources. Look at education, investment, even government. When any government takes power, it must invest in the youth, in education, in health, all those that matters. Build schools, build, even I said from the family perspective is that put money there. To have a better future, you have to train the youths and train them properly and actually create jobs for them. So that is the perspective I had.
Okay.
That not that you are like a parasite who is just fionzering, or
you know you're my professor. I can't argue so much on that.
Okay. So we are all together in this.
All right.
But in politics, not every youth is going into politics anyway.
Okay.
Right.
All right. Fair enough. Let's get into this, as we know. I'm told that we are running out of time. But then, the Jubilee administration is soon coming to an end in a few months to come. But the president is adamant to tell people that this is my track record. On social media, we've seen several billboards doing rounds on social media, stipulating the president's achievement. Politically speaking, and the Jubilee, we have got their NDC coming up soon. We have got Sagana 3 also loading. And we also have the Azimiola Umoja pact to be signed on Saturday. What is the president trying to tell us? That he is single-handedly fighting to see that Jubilee is resuscitated. People say that Jubilee is dead. Was Jubilee dead, Dr.?
I would think, you know, this is a political season.
Yes.
Anybody could say anything to their benefit. Someone will say Jubilee is dead, and still actually fighting the dead body.
Yes.
You know, you don't fight someone who has died. So Jubilee is not dead. Jubilee is forming a coalition with Azimio. So it's a party in no manner of existence, whether it is legal existence, de facto existence, all this, the Jubilee is there. It's a political party.
The structure, the party structure still exists.
Yeah, the leader, not just the structures. The leader of Jubilee is Uhuru Kenyatta. Is still alive, and is president. Jubilee is the ruling party. Are we saying there's no government if Jubilee was dead? I think it is a political statement that people make in order to show that Jubilee is dead, so that people could move to other parties, particularly UDA. UDA makes all those comments, and it's not good for any democracy to do those things. Grow our parties. If a party strength has gone down, let the one that comes ascend to popularity in the country actually also grow in a natural way, or in a way that is supported by the people. But it's a political season. It's a season of elections, and people will say anything. But I want to say this: what politicians do not do very well, we do politics also in certain circles, is to say what you have done and make sure people understand what you have done. I think President Uhuru, by listing things that the Jubilee administration has done, people actually will see Jubilee in a different light. We'll even see the president from a different light, other than what we normally see as propaganda, that nothing has been done. In fact, politicians will be quick to say the sitting MP has not done anything, and the sitting senator has done nothing. Nobody will not.
The nature of politics.
Not the nature of politics. Nobody will sit in an office for 5 years and do nothing. At least there should be a chronology of things. They have done roads, I know for sure. They have done roads, and of course SGR with its own issues is going into.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. Let's get into this, as we know. I'm told that we are running out of time. But then, the Jubilee administration is soon coming to an end in a few months to come. But the president is adamant to tell people that this is my track record. On social media, we've seen several billboards doing rounds on social media, stipulating the president's achievement. Politically speaking, and the Jubilee, we have got their NDC coming up soon. We have got Sagana 3 also loading. And we also have the Azimiola Umoja pact to be signed on Saturday. What is the president trying to tell us? That he is single-handedly fighting to see that Jubilee is resuscitated. People say that Jubilee is dead. Was Jubilee dead, Dr.?
I would think, you know, this is a political season.
Yes.
Anybody could say anything to their benefit. Someone will say Jubilee is dead, and still actually fighting the dead body.
Yes.
You know, you don't fight someone who has died. So Jubilee is not dead. Jubilee is forming a coalition with Azimio. So it's a party in no manner of existence, whether it is legal existence, de facto existence, all this, the Jubilee is there. It's a political party.
The structure, the party structure still exists.
Yeah, the leader, not just the structures. The leader of Jubilee is Uhuru Kenyatta. Is still alive, and is president. Jubilee is the ruling party. Are we saying there's no government if Jubilee was dead? I think it is a political statement that people make in order to show that Jubilee is dead, so that people could move to other parties, particularly UDA. UDA makes all those comments, and it's not good for any democracy to do those things. grow our parties. If a party strength has gone down, let the one that comes ascend to popularity in the country actually also grow in a natural way or in a way that is supported by the people. But it's a political season. It's a season of elections, and people will say anything. But I want to say this. What politicians do not do very well, we do politics also in certain circles, is to say what you have done and make sure people understand what you have done. I think President Uhuru, by listing things that the Jubilee administration has done, people actually will see Jubilee in a different light. We'll even see the president from a different light, other than what we normally see as propaganda, that nothing has been done. In fact, politicians will be quick to say the sitting MP has not done anything, or the sitting senator has done nothing. Nobody will not.
The nature of politics.
Yeah, not the nature of politics. Nobody will sit in an office for 5 years and do nothing. At least there should be a chronology of things. They have done roads, I know for sure. They have done roads, and of course SGR with its own issues. They have done SGR. In fact, I've seen transformation. Go to Central, I've seen that construction towards Nyeri and all directions. Things personally I've seen. Maybe Husena does not see it because she says she was born later, but we have seen where we have come from. we have actually, there's transformation. If you compare 1990, for example, or 1997, and now, you can see actually the transformation in terms of infrastructure, in terms of cities, how cities have grown, in terms of income, in terms of even education awareness. People are aware, more aware. It's good so to put down on pen and paper what Jubilee has done, so that it's a scorecard. And I wish that this should be the direction of politics in our country. That you say, these are my achievements. People can say, yes, we have seen a road there, we have seen a school constructed there, we have seen a college here, we have seen this here. And then we ask them questions, what about these other things that you have not done? So it is important that every administration accounts for the utilization of resources that they have been granted through the budgetary process, actually, which is through Parliament, which is a representative body of the people of that particular country. Because
I want to
by stating exactly what has been done, how money has been spent.
Even as you respond to that, Hezena, the president said that siasa tutapiga wakati wake ikifika, and wakati ndio huu sasa, and he's completely now folding his sleeve, getting from the comfort of his office, and now want to dive completely into politics and now do what he's, because he's a politician. Much as the president, the unifying factor, he's a politician at the end of the day. What do you see once the president says that it's all systems go? He's going to stipulate his achievements as the Jubilee administration. His deputy has been saying that Jubilee is dead, but as Dr. is saying that the president cannot be in office and yet the sponsoring party is still is dead. That can't happen. Having said that, the president is coming out strongly as the leader of the government. What are we likely to see now that things will be out moving? As a response to your question.
Those are a lot of questions at once,
exactly.
But let me first respond to Professor. You know, he has presumed what my views and thoughts are about the president. I have nothing but heap of appreciation and praise for the president. I might be a young person suffering in this country together with my fellow young youth and women. And it does not mean we are totally oblivious of the progress that our nation has made. And we will not be solidly supporting Raila Odinga if he was not joining forces or a recommendation by a very hardworking president. We have seen the SGR. Like Professor says, it's a political season. Anything goes, anything can be said. But the fact is, the SGR is majestically standing there. They will say at what cost. What matters is that this SGR will benefit the future generations. In Samburu, particularly, we have seen the tarmacking of the Nyahururu-Maralal highway for the first time. And when I'm MP, I will ensure that the tarmac goes to Baragoi and solves the insecurity issues. The tarmac will connect Baragoi to Turkana, Baragoi to Marsabit, and solve the insecurity and poverty issues. It will open up the region. And secondly, he commissioned a very huge dam next to my home. Okay? The dam will solve the inadequacy of water in Samburu. I commend him for that. I'm not blind to that. And we have seen the highway, the dual carriage. He has done so much. And not only that, he has continued. There was a time even the international community had lost hope in our country.
Exactly.
A lot of people are seeing us like a destabilized nation. We are about to go to another PEV. They went into the handshake. The international community is coming back, and now they want all sorts of association in Kenya. You've seen the other day with the president of France, His Excellency Emmanuel Macron.
Yes.
You've seen this past Friday with His Royal Majesty, the ruler of Dubai, and they have already declared that they are going to start up an innovation and technology center in Kenya. I'm hoping that technological and innovation center will go to Chalbi Desert, because you know, they will feel good in that kind of climate. Secondly,
she said there's no network there.
No, they will come with the network and all infrastructure. Again, we have seen the commissioning of Lamu Port, which has expanded the region. And even now, Congo, with its 90 million population, wanting,
and
doing
cow.
one cow. I don't want to say that. I'm still in the Commonwealth. So with the Congo, with its 90 million population, thinking it wise to join forces with the East African Commission, is because they are seeing the progress and the maturity that the East African Commission is making, the potential. They are going to make about, how many trillions in GDP if that happens? And why are they doing that? It's because of things like SGR. Congo is landlocked, right?
Yes.
They are depending on East Africa, or they can depend on
perhaps
that.
that's
But
why they want to join
East
the bloc.
Africa, exactly. And they are proposing one currency. They are proposing at this rate. If we get into this parliament, we're going to form the United States of Africa. That's where we want to go as young people, because our parents did well for us. They empowered us. They empowered us for a reason. They want us to forge and steer this country forward and make it big. And with the expansion of Lamu Port, with the Mombasa Port, with the SGR, that one will open and make Kenya what do we call? It will make Kenya the giant, the center, and all these countries will have to depend on Kenya. So a wise president will ensure that there is political stability in the country, there is peace, there is security, and so that the region grows.
And continuity of what
exactly, and continuity. Like in Raila Odinga's manifesto, there is something called continuity of administrative continuity.
Yes.
This is what he's working on. Yes.
Because, but that, just to mention, the shipyard in Kisumu is also functional, and they are constructing a ship in Kisumu that was commissioned by the president sometimes last year. I witnessed that.
And the airport.
And the airport is also being expanded.
And Isiolo Airport also. There is also Isiolo Airport. It will open up the region. And by the way, I forgot to mention, the Great North Road has been complete. Started by Kibaki, but finished by the president through Merile. All these were promises in his own government. He didn't have to do much. He just kept his promise. This is a president we want to appreciate as young people. And the other day you saw, when he called on youth to fill State House, do you think youth will just go there and eat money and jump and run? No. Most of them I know, most youth who are there are my friends from various political parties, and they are respectable youth of integrity. They went there because they appreciate this president.
All right. I'm told we have got only 3 minutes to go. Daktari, as we come to a close, what's your parting shot as far as the president's achievement is concerned?
I would say that the president has done well. When you say well, I'm also, not an easy marker. I can't give you 90%, but the president has done well. I would say he has
done generous
well.
Enough.
No, I'm being fair. 99. I'm being fair. I can give him 68%, which is a strong B.
Okay.
Yeah, but again, he had certain challenges in his government, particularly in the second term, where his principal assistant actually left work. He stopped working from 2018. And it's important to note that the shortfall can only be accounted for as a result of lack of support internally within government. But he has done well. I've driven Victor from Kisii or to Kisumu, to Bungoma, to Kitale. The highway is nice, smart.
There's no rough road at all.
It's wide, wider, because it used to be very narrow. It's wider and a really good road, motorable. You go speed, minimum speed or maximum speed as expected. That has made the place different. So I could buy, in Bungoma, ahead of Bungoma, I could buy onions across the road. You buy bananas, you buy, pineapples and all that. That is going actually to lift people from poverty in the time to come. These things can come gradually, but actually they have helped to develop the country. The president has done well in his presidency.
To add slightly on that,
it's
because
okay. I will also give you time. Exactly.
Me,
yes.
There was a question you had asked me on if Jubilee was dead, and now you see, I don't think it was dead, but we just had a vice president who knew that the party was a vehicle to run for office. Once he got into office, despite his running mate, quitting and doing all sabotaging and all those kinds of things he was accused of, and disrespect and all those kinds of things, he continued to work. And right now, I don't know what Kenyans will be able to tell you if they're honest with themselves. He was working alone. He has achieved a lot of Jubilee's manifestos. For us, the dam was more important than the laptops for now, because we want to survive, right? The rural electrification, he's been ensuring that's happening. The title deeds, he has given title deeds even to women. These are things we want to see as young people.
You know what? As I usually do here on the show, every aspirant who come to the show, I take the latitude to give them space to sell the manifesto and agenda. It's open that you're running for a seat of woman representative in Samburu. We wish you all the best. Perhaps that is your camera. You talk to them and tell them you have got 2-3 minutes to sell yourself on a national televition.
Should I say it in Samburu?
You talk to them to the language they understand. Perfect enough. Perfect enough.
Thank you. So, enta super Sambur eserian ngopang supat Kaumuntai, Enjokukura, and Mutengarake, my manifestos are the following. I intend to restore peace and stability through the office of the woman representative, because I know women are much capable of creating peace in any society, because gender inequality cuts across every other development spectrum. And once you have gender equality, you appreciate your women and put them on a pedestal to help you. These women can restore peace and revive your economy. Secondly, you all know that I have an agricultural revolution agenda, and I want to introduce it as an alternative means of livelihood. This will curb insecurity, this will reduce poverty, and this will give us a solution forward into, through sustainable food production, and will not have more people starving. And again, I intend to maximally utilize all the resources that the NGAF provides, because in any case, I've been helping you guys from my own pocket. Imagine what I can do with public resources. I have been an activist for how the county government is misusing your funds. It does not mean I'm looking for this seat to go and misuse the same funds. Lastly, the education and health sector needs a thorough revival in Samburu. We have seen that the hospital did not even have painkillers. When the dam comes, we will have water. That will solve one problem in the hospital. But there is so much that the resources that go to Samburu County can do for only a population of about 300 and something thousand. That's a very little population to ensure that everyone is living everyone is living well and in peace, regardless of communities. I know I come from the largest clan, but in my campaign, there will be nothing like clans. It will be about serious and rigorous issue-based and development. Thank you.
Daktari, I think tukiongeza kuzidi hapo tutaharibu. Tumalize.
Thank you so much.
All right. They say Asholeng.
Asholeng, Kacham Daiboki.
All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. We've been speaking to Hezena Lemaletian. She is running Lemaletian. I beg your pardon. She's running for the woman representative seat in Samburu County, and she's already stipulated her manifesto there, as we usually do here on the show. And Daktari from the University of Nairobi, who is a University of Nairobi lecturer of political science and a political scientist as well. Thank you so much for joining us, and you as a viewer for your valid company. We are taking a break. The show is not yet over. We'll be right back after this.
Thank you.
Asanteni sana. Thank you so much for your time. It's been amazing.
I've never spoken in vernacular.
Mtoto analia.
Nimejaribu kumnyamazisha, pia mimi nimechoka.
Amerudi? Yuko wapi?
Gani hizi Mungu?
Una roho chafu ya kichawi wewe.
Kwani Hana ni malaika?
Hana amepelekwa kwa Laban.
Mimi nahisi Kate yuko hai.
I've had enough of you taking it out on me every time you lose your patience. All I ever did was try and help you.
Stay out of the way.
Your father's the one that has always insisted on comparing the two of you. The only thing you can do for Santi is what you've always done. Give him your love.
I'm going to remove my son from this low-class facility. I'll take him to the best hospital in Mexico where they have real doctors.
Grandma, what's going on? Where am I?
If you don't obey me, I have no need to keep on paying your way. Do you want money? That means you'll have to start to work.
Lying heart. Fue sembrando el veneno y la ambición.
The 19th edition of Sauti za Busara Music Festival, one of Africa's top music festivals, went down at the Old Fort in Stone Town, Zanzibar, where an exciting array of artists thrilled revelers.
I feel like there is space for creative writers and for creative works in Kenya presently than before.
They got my song, Gucci Gucci Mane.
Diamond Platnumz and Zari, the boss lady, are part of the cast of the very first African reality series on Netflix. Now,
so that's why you're hating me.
Everybody was like, huh? You cheated and then you have a kid?
The only thing he did wrong, he got caught.
Chini ya uongozi wa Rais Uhuru Kenyatta, serikali imewekeza vilivyo katika sekta ya kilimo ili kuongeza uzalishaji chakula na pia kulinda mapato ya wakulima. Wiki hii kwenye Project 254.
My administration is currently reforming the sector by increasing output and productivity, boosting incomes in agribusiness, and ensuring household resilience and food security.
Alikuwa sisi na njaa, lakini wakati Uhuru alikuja, sisi nasema asante kwa sababu hii mtu anapatia maji ya irrigation.
Tunalima mchele na inatusaidia. Tunaweza kusomesha watoto, tunaweza kukaa kama mkulima anakaa kama mfanyabiashara mwingine. Hatuna tofauti sana. Sasa maisha tunaona maisha sasa ni mepesi.
for me in the restaurant, okay?
Oh.
Aren't you afraid she's gonna catch us? What are we gonna do?
Oh my. I'm so sorry.
I'll go take care of it ASAP and come back as early as I can, okay?
All women believe their husbands are loyal to them. They just won't admit it, even if there's proof. I wonder what makes you trust him so much.
A lady asked us to dry clean it immediately. She told us to send it to 2622.
I saw him talking with another woman. They were picking out wedding rings.
Tell her it's a case of emergency. There's a patient by the name of Gregory. Night nurse. Imagine living in a world where there is no war. No, oh no.
I never knew anyone so one of a kind. No, the way she moves to her own beat, she has the qualities. Absolutely, I love you just the way you are, girl. You don't have to change. He wants to look like them girls in the magazine. She got big dreams. She see herself on the big screen. She asks, do you love me? I say you're just right. Absolutely, I love you just the way you are, girl. You don't have to change.
Welcome back to the program. This is still Good Morning Kenya. Time for our last conversation. This Monday morning, we want to talk about children. Our focus being on trauma and supporting vulnerable children. My guest this morning, Leonard Chumo, is the Director of Policy and Partnership at Uthabiti Africa. He has a key interest when it comes to especially early childhood care and education as it pertains to children. Leonard, good morning and welcome to the program.
Good morning and thank you for having me.
All right, let's start with understanding what Uthabiti is all about. Just in brief.
Thank you. Uthabiti is a social enterprise that works to accelerate access to quality early childhood care, education and development across the region, beginning specifically in Kenya, with intentions to expand programs across the continent.
Yeah. So it's actually across board?
Yes, it is.
All right.
Yeah, more holistic, because what we're beginning to believe now is that early childhood development is not education. It's not nutrition, it's not health, it's not protection and safety, it's everything. So we have an approach that lobbies and mobilizes effort across the spectrum, actors in health, nutrition, early learning, that's education, safety and protection, what we famously call child protection, responsive caregiving, where parents and social supports in the society are concerned, and all of them working together as one unit to support children.
All right. So which age groups do you normally target? Between ages what, and why specific that age bracket?
Our programming runs through 0 to 8. Most people may not understand what 0 is, but it's conception to about 8 years, and that's just for purposes of programming. The Constitution of Kenya, the Children Act and other legal documents define children as persons below the age of 18 years.
Yes.
But for purposes of putting in quality and being more specific, having measurable programs, we focus 0 to 8 years. Yeah.
You are an advocate of young children. Interest in investing in this young population. How and why did you develop a key interest in particularly such young children?
Good question. Because I do not necessarily have a background in early childhood development.
Yeah.
It's an area I found myself almost accidentally. I came from banking right into the deep ends of child development about 10, maybe 15 years ago.
Yeah.
And I'm a father of two, so I'm a beneficiary of early childhood programs myself. And I think it is, and I would invite everyone and encourage everyone, especially young parents, aspiring parents, people working with children, to have interest in early childhood development. It is an investment that is right. You can't go wrong. I'm hearing, politics is around here with us.
Yes.
We always get it wrong with politics. We get one president, we have 20 or 5 years, maybe 10 years or even more. But investing in early childhood gives you the best results. And I want to read a statement that is in Nurturing Care Framework, which is a framework developed by World Bank, UNICEF, and other global actors in early childhood development. And it was adopted at the World Health Assembly of May 23rd, 2018 in Geneva. 71st World Health Assembly, and this is what it says. That what is one of the best ways a country can boost shared prosperity, promote inclusive economic growth, expand equitable opportunity, and end extreme poverty? That's a question. I'll repeat that. What is the one best ways a country such as Kenya can boost shared prosperity, promote inclusive economic growth, expand equitable opportunity, and end extreme poverty? The answer is very simple. Invest in early childhood development. So that's scientifically proven, globally accepted now. Countries such as New Zealand and others, Cuba, that are making great progress in holistic development, cohesion, social cohesion, economic productivity, and health. Health and productivity are those that have invested in children. Yes.
Because we want to work on your mic, but we're still speaking with Leonard Chumo, Director of Policy and Partnership at USABT Africa. He is talking to us about basically trauma and supporting vulnerable children, giving us a bit of his background and perhaps what led him to just get an interest when it comes to support of children, particularly what we call the vulnerable children. Also, as we continue this particular conversation, we'll be diving into understanding vulnerability when it comes to children. When we talk about vulnerable children, what exactly are we talking about? What characterizes vulnerability in children? And what exactly can we do as a people, a community, as a society, especially when it comes to support of these children that we call vulnerable? And even as a state, as a government, what exactly is the state doing as it pertains to support of vulnerable children? Coming back to you, Leonard, I mean, you were just basically telling us and making us understand what really led you to developing the interest, because you've told us that your background is in banking. Someone would really want to think, so at what point did you really get interest
in early childhood development? It is an investment that is right. You can't go wrong. I'm hearing, politics is around here with us.
Yes.
We always get it wrong with politics. We get one president, we have 20 or 5 years, maybe 10 years or even more. But investing in early childhood gives you the best results. And I want to read a statement that is in Nurturing Care Framework, which is a framework developed by World Bank, UNICEF, and other global actors in early childhood development. And it was adopted at the World Health Assembly of May 23rd, 2018 in Geneva. 71st World Health Assembly, and this is what it says. That what is one of the best ways a country can boost shared prosperity, promote inclusive economic growth, expand equitable opportunity, and end extreme poverty? That's a question. I'll repeat that. What is the one best ways a country such as Kenya can boost shared prosperity, promote inclusive economic growth, expand equitable opportunity, and end extreme poverty? The answer is very simple. Invest in early childhood development. So that's scientifically proven, globally accepted now. Countries such as New Zealand and others, Cuba, that are making great progress in holistic development, cohesion, social cohesion, economic productivity, and health. Health and productivity are those that have invested in children.
Yes. Because we want to work on your mic, but we're still speaking with Leonard Chumo, Director of Policy and Partnership at UTHA-BT Africa. He is talking to us about basically trauma and supporting vulnerable children, giving us a bit of his background and perhaps what led him to just get an interest when it comes to support of children, particularly what we call the vulnerable children. Also, as we continue this particular conversation, we'll be diving into understanding vulnerability when it comes to children. When we talk about vulnerable children, what exactly are we talking about? What characterizes vulnerability in children? And what exactly can we do as a people, a community, as a society, especially when it comes to support of these children that we call vulnerable? And even as a state, as a government, what exactly is the state doing as it pertains to support of vulnerable children? Coming back to you, Leonard, I mean, you were just basically telling us and making us understand what really led you to developing the interest, because you've told us that your background is in banking. Someone would really want to think, so at what point did you really get an interest when it comes to support of vulnerable children? So that is what you will be talking to us about in just a short while. But again, like I mentioned earlier, of course, you can send in your questions, maybe your feedback as it pertains to this particular conversation. Our focus centered on trauma and supporting of vulnerable children. If you can remember that today, again, we also had in the papers that story of a police officer who went ahead to kill himself, and on top of that, kill his wife, and on top of that, kill himself. And all this happening at the glare and the presence of their 2-year-old son. So when you look at such kind of incidences, what kind of long-term effect does it have on these children? When we talk about children who, in a space whereby they cannot be able to thrive in their biological setups, perhaps parents have separated or divorced altogether, they've ended up getting on the street, perhaps as street kids, what we call as orphans. All this perhaps characterized as vulnerable children. But what kind of support can we give to such kind of children? This is the conversation we are having in studio right now, and this is what our guest is helping us unpack and understand all together. Now, Leonard, back to you. Aside from just understanding the fact that, yes, we are talking about that idea of perhaps you getting that interest, aside from the fact that we're talking about how you got into this particular space, aside from the fact that we're talking about you advocating for these young children and perhaps the different kind of issues that they are going through, obviously you'll be getting to these issues as I mentioned to you earlier. But before we get into all of this, just as I've mentioned to you, the different kind of issues we'll be unpacking and trying to understand the nitty-gritties of all of this, I want us to take a very quick breather. When we come back, we get back with Leonard, and he'll be talking to us about all of this and so much more as it pertains to trauma and supporting vulnerable children. After this break, stay with us.
We visit Ban Manufacturing Company headquarters in Ruiru, Kiambu County to witness the behind the scenes of manufacturing different types of cooking appliances, otherwise known as the Jiko Okoa. We start at the loading bay where all the raw material used is kept. The material is received as per the request and requirements made on their spreadsheet. The same then goes through a robust quality inspection process to validate the mechanical and chemical aspects.
Once it's validated and good for use, we come up with a build plan, which is basically a plan for how you're going to cut the 8x4 sheets to become exactly what it will be in the product.
The raw material is as diverse as the different products manufactured here, but mostly all from the steel family. The 8x4 sheets are then cut into smaller sizes depending on expected end product. In the next stage, the pieces are designed to fit respective rolls.
The forming stage, where now you start giving that stage some form of shape that will eventually come to be seen in the store. And once all the parts have been formed, then they go to the assembly section.
Next, the parts are washed in soap and water, dried, and painted, and then put in a kiln for 20 minutes for the paint powder to stick. The parts are then assembled accordingly to form the final product.
The assembly section, we mostly use permanent joinery processes, especially for the old processes, which is basically welding processes.
Once the product has been put together, the G-core core is then wiped clean, and the quality inspection is done by quality inspectors.
The people in the orange dust coats, so those are the quality inspectors, and every stuff has to be inspected. So they inspect for whether all the features are there, whether they have been put together or assembled in the right way, and everything tallies as per the spec sheets that they have been provided.
This enables for warranty requests or claims from customers, and for the company to be able to recall product when and as need arises.
Once that is done, basically the stove is put into our online system, where real time you can be able to see exactly what is being built.
And there you have it.
Reporting from Ruiru in Kiambu County, I'm Nisi Imano.
All right, Parks of Live TV it is. Nonetheless, we are here and we are back still with Leonard Chumo, Director of Policy and Partnership at Uthabiti Africa. Our conversation still centered on trauma and supporting vulnerable children. Leonard, let's now just get into the issues. We talk about vulnerable children, and the array of issues that I mentioned could perhaps be, some of those factors. But when you talk about vulnerable children, what exactly are we talking about? What does it even mean in the first place?
Thank you. I think this is a great subject, especially with the changing life circumstances, emergence of technology, increasing urbanization, crime rates, and all social, network breakdown like nuclear families, values and systems. We now need to begin to think about children as components of our society, and so vulnerable children are children who are exposed, and their development is at risk. We call them adverse childhood experiences. They're literally children who are exposed to a wide array of experiences in early years that can advance their development. And from science, the brain develops rapidly between about 0 to 2 years, maybe 3 years, but by the time they get to 6 years, a child development is about 80% fully developed. So any experiences, traumatic experiences, exposure to violence, death, death of a loved one, children, parents, migration. I like to encourage people that we need to think about children as, part and parcel of our society. When, for example, you make a decision to move from one house to another, or one neighborhood to another, for whatever reason, as an adult, your thinking is important. You need to think about the perspective of children.
Sometimes you don't even think it's important.
Yeah.
Why am I asking you as a 10-year-old
to
move from this house to the next neighborhood?
Yeah, they lose their friends. They lose, sometimes in the process of moving, they lose some of their toys.
Yeah.
They lose what they see through the window. They'll never see it again. They change schools, and they have to be introduced to new friends. So there's a wide range of issues, especially now increasingly with the changing circumstances in life, that expose children to vulnerability. Maternal stress. COVID is here. Most of us don't even think about what's the implication of COVID-19 on children. We like to think about employment, unemployment, the pressure on health, but there is so much more on children. Some children have had to relocate to rural areas, from the cities. So they lose their teachers, significant others, their friends. Their development pattern is disrupted, so to speak. And so all those things, lead to vulnerability, expose children to be more vulnerable. And we're not talking about comfort or children feeling good about life and so on. We're talking about impact on overall development, which has significant effects in later years on both learning, behavior, health. Now we know from science that the experiences in early childhood development have significant impact in adulthood.
Yeah.
A good number of non-communicable diseases that we have now are as a result of the nature and the experiences that we were exposed to in early childhood. If those experiences were not caring enough, there was no social significant relationships, and we must also say that present, not just parents, but present parents who are present, caring and listening. If that nurturing environment did not exist well in early years, when we developed, we will not run away from that in later years. Some of us, of course, biologically are more resilient. Some children are, are more resilient. They will. We like to illustrate with the rubber band. When you stretch it, its elasticity. Some can go back to the normal state, regulation, but others may not. Exposure to stressors, adverse, effects within the environment, such as punishment in school. They have to cross the road and without any help, no crossing signs, no children crossing sign. So when you tell them to go back to school the following day, they are scared because they are not assured of comfort and coexistence in the society.
All right. I mean, you have really holistically mentioned and even gone into the factors that perhaps lead to vulnerability. But I just want to pick something from what you've mentioned, and this is the fact that how a child is developed from those formative years is a bigger contributor to even who they become. And that perhaps would lead me to my next question of what happens to those children that cannot thrive in their natural biological setup. Perhaps parents, got separated, or parents divorced in one reason or the other. How then do you support such kind of children? Because as it is, they're already vulnerable.
Yeah. Yeah, how do we support children that are not developing well within their natural setup?
Yes.
Yeah, it's important to underscore that I think nature anticipated that a child is born, from the womb of a mother and then taken care of by, a father and a mother. But those are ideal scenarios. What we see now is the increasing number of children that are growing up in either institutions of care or away from their parents. Parents have to leave home and go to work. Unfortunately, some of our policies and infrastructure do not allow us, to have time with children more. And so we find, a number of children increasingly in our country and in the world at large, where children have to live in settings that are not what we would call natural environment.
Yeah.
What we advocate now is creation of alternative care, not institution, and those include daycares, childcare facilities, and I'm happy a number of counties in Kenya right now are putting in place robust policies and laws for improving the quality and standards of daycares, for example, where children are placed for parents who are busy. They have to go to work, report early to work, and then they can come and get them there. Qualified workers within those care institutions, childcare institutions, proper standards, nutrition, health. And it's almost an alternative to a mother and a father, but it's not the ideal. So we would encourage, where they exist, the biological parents, create more time, sacrifice enough, stay home. I have met parents who have sacrificed even jobs to stay home and take care of their children.
Families.
Yeah, or ensure that you have a qualified, well-trained, caregiver. It could be a house help, it could be a relative. Unfortunately, the extended family setup is disappearing now. So we have a nuclear family, father, mother, and some cases even single parents, where an alternative care can only be a hired caregiver.
Yeah.
So ensure that they are qualified to respond to the needs of young children. And I must say, I know probably it's in one of your questions, that we also need to think about children with special needs and disability. The statistics are profound, that unless we invest intentionally in moving children with disability and special needs up, the system, we will continue to be pulled behind, because they are equally children and they have so much potential to help a nation move forward. Some of the challenges, disability and special needs challenges, are easily corrected, or at least we can improve those children and support them to be able to achieve some of their giftings and talents, and they can make contribution in life. But bottom line is they have a right to services, quality services, not as a second thought.
Yeah.
So when we're building institutions, we have to ensure that there's access, not just access infrastructurally, but access in terms of capacity with staffing, proper policies for ensuring that there's care and specific attention to children with special needs. But we need to support their parents much more than we support the ordinary parents. There should be incentives.
Because they get to go through a lot.
They go through quite a lot. So I always say that, early childhood program is a program for parents and children, not for children.
It's holistic.
It is holistic. And, as a mother or father or a caregiver, you need to be supported in order to provide quality care for young children.
Yeah.
So there should be better policies at workplace, that ensure that either lactating, breastfeeding, or pregnant mothers are cared for their health, mental health and well-being impacts the well-being of young children.
Yeah.
And more importantly, for parents who are serving children with special needs, they go through emotional, depression, instabilities, and they need support.
Okay,
yeah.
Well said. And speaking of policies, the Children's Bill is still before Parliament, already went through its first and second reading. We perhaps expect it to be assented and become law. And part of what this Children's Bill seeks to address is, of course, the issue of promotion of rights of children, social protection, there's the FGM question, there's the law on marriage and, the young children, especially young girls getting married. And the question is, the idea is good. That's why perhaps we have that bill even before Parliament anyway. So the question is always perhaps in the implementation. And even aside from implementation, do children even know their rights in the first place? Because it's one thing to champion for those rights, but these persons that you're championing for their rights, do they understand what their rights is? Talk to me about that.
Thank you. I think you raise a pertinent issue there. Children, are they spectators or participants?
Yes.
And we come from a background where children are there to be seen and not to be heard. I hear politicians say, if you're not on the menu, you're on the plate.
Yeah. Choose where you want to be.
Yeah, and it looks like for children, they're not even in the menu, not in the plate.
They're just somewhere
nowhere.
in between.
I think they're nowhere in the picture.
Okay.
There are not enough voices that we hear that articulate issues for young children. And we need to start demanding, for all of us in the community that politicians, government, the private sector, employers need to start thinking and talking about children. So I'm happy that we have, a bill that hopefully will become a law before the Parliament is dissolved.
Yes.
And as with the BT Africa, we've participated with through the Children Agenda Forum, made our contribution and submission, and we hope that it will be passed. But as you say, having good laws is one thing. We must be able to get through to the implementation. So there are issues around financing, supporting structures. And by the way, I need to mention that we're also part of work that is ongoing to develop a national early childhood development policy for the country, which is more integrated. One of the issues we are grappling with right now is, who will be responsible for implementation of that policy? Can the president and those in government create an interministerial committee at a high level, either at the office of the president or coordinated in a similar way, like we've seen, the Minister C.S. Matiang'i coordinating government ministries. We would like a similar structure to support issues for children. And we have a policy conference coming up in March 9th and 10th at Safari Park, and we will be articulating a number of those things, demanding more space. A lot of partnership needs to happen between county and national government. There are a lot of people that think issues children were devolved because they did not seem important for the country. Yet we know now that unless we invest there, unless we invest in children with disability, children who are marginalized and left behind, both in health, education, nutrition, safety, and what the story you just read about it's disheartening.
Yes, it is.
That the safety and security of our children is not at the center stage of our discussion. So our police, our Ministry of Interior, it's a whole society, whole community, whole family effort that we need to rally behind.
All right, so then what do you think needs to be done, perhaps when it comes to sensitization, creating awareness, or even education for these children to understand their rights? I mean, when it comes to up until this point, then you have infringed on my right to life. Up until this point, you have infringed on my right to health. Up until this point, you have infringed on my right to social protection. What do we need to do when it comes to creation of more awareness, perhaps sensitization, knowledge, education, and so on?
There are a number of ways we can look at it. Of course, children live within the community and they're members of the community. And Doreen, even as we talk about this, it's not right to say that all parents, all government, all counties are not doing a lot and enough. There are people that are doing a lot. There are men, for example, that you walk to the supermarket and they're carrying a baby.
Yes.
I have seen men who are carrying the babies in the back, not only in the city, but even in the villages. So there are people, there are families, there are communities, there are government structures that are doing a lot, but we still need to do so much more. So I think we can begin by advocating at the family level. Let families know that, one, it's the right of children. We're not doing them a favor.
Yeah.
And if we have to succeed in the next 50 years, 100 years, we have to succeed with bringing up children now. So let's begin at the family, create demand for quality services. And even in the electioneering period where we are going into, let's create civic awareness. And I don't know whether I'm telling you, I'm telling the viewers.
They're listening.
Let's demand that people must tell us something about children in their manifesto, whether we're talking about UDA, Azimio, or the local.
What's in it for children?
What is in it for children, and let's have them commit in writing, and vote them out or vote them in based on what do they have for children. And I must always say that the unfortunate thing about investing in children is that the results are not immediate. We'll have to wait for 10 years, 15 years before we look back and say, wow, if it wasn't for quality pre-primary education, if it wasn't for investing in maternal care and supporting families, we wouldn't be here. But that means our governors will be out of office before they see results. Our presidents will be out of office before they see those results. But it is time we created a caliber of leadership that invests without needing to see results immediately. The former South African president, the late Nelson Mandela, said that you can tell the heart of a society by the way they treat children. You can tell, when we drive on the road, a pregnant mother has to dash across the street and they're not sure whether they'll get to the other end of the road. Children coming from school don't know how to make their way home. When it rains, there's no support. And so on and so forth. It tells you the heart of the society. We need to do more.
Okay, it just felt like we're actually now beginning to dive into the issue. The director keeps saying that we are out of time. Nonetheless, but I think the most important part is that when it comes to basically supporting traumatized or vulnerable children, investment in these children is actually key and very important. Can we be in agreement on that?
I absolutely agree. We need to put our money where our mouth is. There are children outside there, they form our society with needs, and we need to start making investment from family, policies, good laws, and just good leadership.
All right, fair enough. Good place to end it.
Thank
you. Good place to end it. That has been Leonard Chumo, Director of Policy and Partnership with the BT Africa, and he has just been basically talking to us about how we can be able to support vulnerable children, traumatized children, giving us a background altogether, and what we can also be able to do as a society and community altogether. This is why I bring this conversation to a close, and ultimately, good morning, Kenya, this Monday morning. Till tomorrow, I'm Doreen Arange Okelo on behalf of the entire team. We say thank you so much for watching. Have a lovely Monday morning.
Talking about UDA, Azimio, or the local.
What's in it for children?
What is in it for children, and let's have them commit in writing, and vote them out or vote them in based on what do they have for children. And I must always say that the unfortunate thing about investing in children is that the results are not immediate. We'll have to wait for 10 years, 15 years before we look back and say, wow, if it wasn't for quality pre-primary education, if it wasn't for investing in maternal care and supporting families, we wouldn't be here. But that means our governors will be out of office before they see results. Our presidents will be out of office before they see those results. But it is time we created a caliber of leadership that invests without needing to see results immediately. The former South African president, the late Nelson Mandela, said that you can tell the heart of a society by the way they treat children. You can tell, when we drive on the road, a pregnant mother has to dash across the street and they're not sure whether they'll get to the other end of the road. Children coming from school don't know how to make their way home. When it rains, there's no support. And so on and so forth. It tells you the heart of the society. We need to do more.
Okay, it just felt like we're actually now beginning to dive into the issue. The director keeps saying that we are out of time, nonetheless. But I think the most important part is that when it comes to basically supporting traumatized or vulnerable children, investment in these children is actually key and very important. Can we be in agreement on that?
I absolutely agree. We need to put our money where our mouth is. There are children outside there, they form our society with needs, and we need to start making investment from family, policies, good laws, and just good leadership.
All right, fair enough. Good place to end it.
Thank you.
Good place to end it. That has been Leonard Chumo, Director of Policy and Partnership at UTHBT Africa, and he has just been basically talking to us about how we can be able to support vulnerable children, traumatized children, giving us a background altogether and what we can also be able to do as a society and community altogether. This is why I bring this conversation to a close, and ultimately, good morning, Kenya, this Monday morning. Till tomorrow, I'm Doreen Arange Okelo on behalf of the entire team. We say thank you so much for watching. Have a lovely Monday morning.
Hii mitikasi leo makala kutoka BBC yaliyomo. Tanzania yapasua mbarika ikihakiki kuwa haipo tayari kuidhinisha mkataba wa kibiashara kati yake na muungano wa bara Ulaya na Jumuiya ya Afrika Mashariki. Baadaye ujumbe wa jeshi la Ufaransa uliokuwa ukidumisha amani kwa miaka 9 nchini Mali kuhitimishwa. Kisha tunakujuza jinsi hatua kujiuzulu kwa wafanyikazi kunavyochangia mustakabali wa swala la ajira barani Afrika. Mubashara kutoka Nairobi, Kenya, usibanduke. Karibu katika habari za biashara zinazokuhusu, uchambuzi wa kina na mahojiano. Jina langu Mie Hamid.